Chapter 235. Inside a huge cave under the Gir Desert. The corner of Shuey's lips curled up as he stared at the coffin. Alright, it's almost done. I thought it would take a few days, but it seems like we can revive the old ancestor today. The heavens are helping me. Who would have guessed that Patriarch Jiangchen was here? Godly cunning immortal, didn't you calculate everything? Why isn't there any reaction? Just as he finished speaking, boom, there was a loud noise. The entire cave was buzzing and trembling. Dust fell from the top of the cliff. For a moment, the cave was shrouded in dust. Shuey's eyebrows jumped up. The two wings on his back flapped rapidly as he shook his head. Impossible. I'd like to see who exactly you are. With that said, Blood Knight formed a seal with his right hand, muttered an incantation, and pointed with his finger. Buzz, the air in front of him trembled and rippled, forming a scene. A blurry figure wielding a hammer smashed downwards. Who is this person? Condense for me. Shuey clenched his teeth and frantically transferred the power in his body. A few wisps of blood qi gushed out of his hand and entered the blurry figure. Instantly, the blurry figure gradually became clear. The blurry figure was about to appear in front of Blood Knight. At this moment, two beams of light shot out of the figure's eyes as it charged toward Shuey. Buzz, Shuey's head seemed to have been struck by a heavy blow, causing his head to rumble and stars to appear before his eyes. Pooh! He spat out a mouthful of blood qi. Shuey covered his chest with one hand and his head with the other, a pained expression on his face. Damn, this is definitely the godly cunning immortal. You caused the death of my tribe's priest, and almost caused me serious injuries. Godly cunning immortal, this hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. Just you wait, I will find you myself. Shuey roared, hurry up, we can't wait any longer. Yes, master. All the generals moved quickly. He gathered all of his strength in his palm and sent it into the coffin. Boom, a loud noise came from above. Gotcha! The top of the rock wall was covered in spiderweb-like cracks. Shuey's expression turned grim when he saw this. If this went on, another strike would definitely cause the rock wall to collapse. At that time, everything would be for naught. Condense. Shuey roared furiously, took out his staff, and swung it quickly. Blood-colored formation runes floated out of his hand and flew to the top of the cliff. The cracks on the rock wall healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, boom! Another loud sound rang out as the repaired cracks spread rapidly. Dust fell in all directions with a loud rumble. Damn it! Shuey's expression changed drastically as he frantically extracted energy from his body to repair the cracks. Boom! 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 The loud noises continued without stopping. It was as if someone was swinging a giant hammer and pounding it crazily. The cracks spread out like a spider web, growing larger and larger. Shuey's blood-colored runes couldn't stop it at all. Boom! With a loud bang, the rock wall collapsed. Dust spread and fell rapidly. Bang! The rubble smashed into the demon generals, and the sound of explosions rang out continuously. The blood-colored shields on their bodies shook unsteadily, as if they would shatter at any moment. Shuey drew on his energy to form a huge blood-colored shield that covered the entire cave. Hurry up, don't just stand there. Shuey roared. Yes, Lord. All the demon generals frantically squeezed their energy and poured it into the coffin. Buzz, above the coffin, the red light became more and more dazzling. Bang! The coffin lid was shaking violently, as if there was a monster slapping inside. Seeing this scene, the light on Shuey's face kept flickering. It's done, it's almost done. He muttered to himself, clenching his fists. Boom! Boom! The loud noises became more and more intense, and the power of each sound doubled. Puff! Shuey spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood-colored shield also suddenly cracked. No, an unwilling roar came to an abrupt end. Like a heavy hammer, it hit Shuey's chest fiercely. He half knelt on the ground, his face full of unwillingness. After he fell, bang, a group of demon generals fell to the ground one after another, fainting. Even Sky Fiend was no exception. At the same time, bang, the giant coffin lid soared into the sky and rotated rapidly, resolving the terrifying power above like a top. Bang, the rock walls around the coffin lid were rapidly exploding as if they had hit a grinder. Roar, a roar came from the coffin. A crimson claw stretched out from the coffin. A bloodthirsty and greedy aura rushed over. Immediately afterward, a 1,000-meter-tall zombie stood up in a daze. His body was crimson, and 4 fangs grew in his mouth. An unstoppable aura stretched out from his body. He was the ancestor of the demon race, Jiangchen. Jiangchen stretched out his right hand and held it on the coffin lid. The coffin lid rotated rapidly in his hand, blocking all the power in the sky. It seemed that Jiangchen was like a god of war that tore the sky and split the earth. "Welcome back, Ancestor." At the scene, Shuiyi and Sky Fiend knelt down and began to kowtow. Jiangchen glanced at the two and couldn't help but secretly shake his head. "Get up, what's going on up there?" "Ancestor, it should be the godly cunning immortal who is attacking us," Shuiyi said. "Godly cunning immortal? I've never heard of this person. What era is he from?" Jiangchen asked. "Ancestor, he just appeared out of nowhere. In the past year, he has calculated everything and destroyed many good things of our race," Shuiyi said. "Just appeared? How could he be so strong?" Jiangchen's expression changed slightly. The vibrating force in the sky was getting stronger and stronger. At first, he could still resist, but the more it went, the fiercer the vibrating force became. "Damn it!" Jiangchen gritted his teeth and resisted with all his might. However, the power of the next hammer was twice as terrifying. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Jiangchen's mouth. At this moment, Jiangchen felt a life-and-death crisis. Without any hesitation, he squeezed out a drop of blood, threw it into a jade bottle, and threw it to Shuiyi. "You two, hurry up and leave, it'll be too late." Jiangchen poured all his power into his hand and pointed forward, forming a teleportation vortex that covered the two of them. "Ancestor," Shuiyi roared. However, as soon as he shouted, he disappeared with Sky Fiend. After the two disappeared, "No!" Jiangchen let out an unwilling roar. "Gotcha!" A sound rang out. A crack spread from Jiangchen's head down his body. Jiangchen's entire body cracked little by little. Finally, it exploded into powder. Like him, there were a group of demon generals who fainted around him. Boom! A loud noise. The entire ceiling cracked open and pressed down on the ground. The entire cave was instantly buried. Boom! The loud noise didn't stop, and it sounded regularly. The power of each sound was multiplying. The entire underground was being bombarded more and more solid. Chapter 236. Sun Hao retracted his hammer and looked at the intact desert, showing a bunch of black lines on his forehead. The sky splitter hammer art that he had comprehended was actually useless. This was like an ordinary person attacking the sand with a hammer. The result was obvious. Am I thinking too much? This was the first time he had failed, so he couldn't help but feel disheartened. Sun Hao frowned and thought secretly. Since the hammer is useless, the knife should be useful, right? Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumring, and she immediately took out a kitchen knife and handed it to Sun Hao. Then, Sun Hao displayed various boning knife techniques. However, it did not leave any marks on the desert. Not to mention tearing the heavens and splitting the earth, not even a grain of sand disappeared. If a kitchen knife doesn't work, how about a chopper? Sun Hao picked up the kitchen knife and performed the firewood chopping technique. In the end, it was useless. Apart from making the sand splatter everywhere, it didn't leave any damage. After some experiments, Sun Hao completely lost his temper. That shouldn't be the case. My skills are already so powerful. How can there be no damage skills? Maybe this place is wrong. Let's try somewhere else. Thinking of this, Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumming. Rumming, let's go to the red soaring void. Yes, young master. After Huang Rumming finished speaking, she summoned the immortal boat and disappeared into the sky with Sun Hao. When he appeared again, he was already in a certain part of the sky. Here, people could step on the sky but they would not fall. Ru Meng, is this the scarlet soaring void? Sun Hao looked at the continent below with a look of surprise. Yes, young master, it is said that this is the entrance to the secret realm left by Taoist Ling Su. Huang Rumming said. The entrance to the secret territory? Sun Hao's eyes swept around, but he did not see any entrance. Where to go in? Young master, it should be closed, I can't find the entrance. Huang Rumming smiled and shook her head. In that case, let me give it a try. Rumming, take out the zither. Yes, young master. After setting up the guqin, Sun Hao looked around and smiled slightly. Let's play the Serenity song first and see if it works. Thinking so, Sun Hao began to pluck the strings. Clang, the sound of the zither reverberated outwards. A pleasant sound came from Sun Hao's fingertip. It spread in all directions and resounded throughout the world. In the void, in the Ling Su secret realm, there was a woman sitting cross-legged in front of a crystal coffin, her eyes closed as if she was cultivating. This person was none other than Taoist Ruoshi. A few months ago, Luo Luyen and Su Yiling gave her the Lingxi diagram. For the past few months she had been trying to break through, but every time she was about to reach that threshold, she would fail every time. There seemed to be something missing. Taoist Ruoshi frowned. She seemed to have reached the most critical juncture. Clang, at this moment, the sound of the zither could be heard. When Taoist Ruoshi heard it, her brows instantly relaxed. She lay down on the ground and smiled knowingly. Gotcha, in the blink of an eye, the barrier covering her body shattered. At this moment, she finally became a profound immortal. However, this was not the end. Along with the sound of the zither, her strength continued to increase rapidly. Not long after, the zither sound stopped, but Taoist Ruoshi remained lying on the ground, motionless. The corners of his mouth curled up, and his face was full of joy. Gotcha, the membrane on his body cracked. At this moment, she broke through to the earth immortal realm. I broke through 2 realms in a row. Which senior is helping me? Taoist Ruoshi muttered to herself, clenching her fists excitedly. It took her a long time to calm down. However, when she just stood up, clang, the sound of the zither was continuous. The invisible killing intent soared into the sky and twisted in all directions. Thousands of horses galloped, thousands of troops fought. At this moment, the scenery in front of Taoist Ruoshi changed rapidly. She seemed to have come to a certain battlefield, turned into a small soldier, and began to fight fiercely. Her body was stained with the blood of her enemies. There was no other way, she couldn't retreat, she could only move forward. The killing intent in her heart surged for thousands of miles. In her eyes there was only killing. Kill all enemies and protect the country behind her. Even if she was exhausted, she kept falling down. When the sound of the zither stopped, Taoist Ruoshi did not open her eyes. She quietly felt all the changes in her body, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. After a long time, she opened her eyes. The Great Tao of Massacre, I actually comprehended the Great Tao of Massacre, and I directly reached the peak realm. In other words, I am already a profound immortal in the Great Tao of Massacre. This is simply incredible! Just which senior is it? He actually has the power to connect the heavens and the earth. I have to go and pay my respects. Thinking like this, Taoist Ruoshi stood up and was about to walk out of the mystic realm. Clang, the sound of the zither continued. This time, the sound of the zither was sometimes fast and sometimes slow. There were no rules, no patterns, no rhythm. Taoist Ruoshi kept swaying in the sound of the zither, sometimes here, sometimes there. It was difficult to control her body. This is the Tao rhyme of the great Tao of space. This is too terrifying. Taoist Ruo, she muttered to herself, shocked to the extreme. She closed her eyes, sensed the surrounding Tao rhyme of space, released her mind, and let the Tao rhyme of space cleanse. After waiting for a long time, the sound of the zither stopped. Taoist Ruo, she opened her eyes. The great Tao of space is extremely difficult to comprehend. I didn't expect that I would also reach the realm of great success. Which senior is it that has helped me time and time again? I will never forget such great kindness. It's time to see that senior. After speaking, Taoist Ruo, she stood up, took a step out, and instantly disappeared from the Ling Su secret realm. When she appeared again, she had already come to the entrance. Taoist Ruo, she scanned around with her divine sense, and couldn't help but frown slightly. Where is the senior? Where did he go? After a while, she retracted her divine sense and sighed secretly. I will always remember the kindness of the senior. When I see him in the future, I will thank him in person. After withdrawing her mood, Taoist Ruo, she glanced in the direction of Jade Lake Palace. I should go see those two little guys. I don't know how they are now. Also, it's time to see the young master. I can get out of the haze, thanks to the young master. Thinking like this, Taoist Ruo, she's figure flashed and disappeared. When she reappeared, she had already arrived above Jade Lake Palace. She glanced at Jade Lake Palace, and her eyes widened, full of disbelief. Supreme Holy Land, it's incredible. With this kind of Supreme Holy Land, I'm afraid no one can shake Jade Lake Palace. She flew down. Taoist Ruo, she glanced around and frowned slightly. No, the mark I left on her is not here. Where the hell is it? Taoist Ruo, she frowned slightly. Who are you looking for? At this time, a disciple of Jade Lake Palace came forward and asked. I'm looking for Luo Luyan. Taoist Ruo, she said. You are? My name is Taoist Ruo Shi. Taoist Ruo Shi, please wait a moment, I will go and inform. After a while, the disciple came out and made a gesture of invitation. Senior, please come inside. The palace master is not here, but the holy maiden will return soon. Okay. Taoist Ruo, she followed the disciple and quickly walked into Jade Lake Palace. Chapter 237. On a flying ship flying towards the deep serene coast. Sun Hao's face was very ugly. Just now, he played 3 songs in a row. It had no effect at all. It had no lethality, nor did it break the Ling Su secret realm. This was like a heavy blow to his chest, and it was difficult for him to bear. Am I really thinking too much? These skills of mine can only help others increase their strength, beautify their appearance, and increase their comprehension, but they're useless to me? In fact, it doesn't even have the slightest destructive power. I'm just a super nanny? Was there a need to do this? What a scam! Sun Hao murmured, his face was ashen. As a nanny, there was no way for her to survive in this world. The problem was that this nanny couldn't heal him yet. Wasn't this too much of a scam? Try again. If it still doesn't work, then go back to collect blessing points. Sun Hao thought secretly and made a decision in his heart. Young master, are we going to jump through space? Huang Ruming asked. No need, just fly over directly. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming nodded slightly. The western region, northwest coast. This stretch of coast, because it was close to the boundless ocean, was also known as the abyssal coast. Throughout the year, not a single person could be seen. The cold wind whistled and the snow swirled. The earth was wrapped in silver. The dusky sky seemed to be pressing down. In a certain underground cave, the corpse puppet clan's patriarch, Mo Hun, sat in the main seat, looking at his subordinate. On the skinless side of his face, the eyeballs kept moving. Is everything ready? Mo Hun asked. Patriarch, get ready. As long as the godly cunning immortal enters the great array, he will definitely not return. And Mo Hun nodded. Mo Jia, where is the godly cunning immortal now? Clan leader is on his way here. He will be here soon. Hearing this, Emohun nodded slightly. The high priest is indeed a divine strategist. Knowing that the godly cunning immortal will come here is not wrong at all. Godly cunning immortal, can't you calculate everything? How about this time? This time, no matter how powerful you are, I'll make sure you have no way out. Emohun said each word. His face was full of resentment. On the ground, in the wind and snow, 4 blurry figures approached from afar. One of them was riding on a unicorn. His eyebrows were covered with frost. This person was Ningmingji. Behind him were a monkey, a pig, and an arhat. "Oh, it's so cold. My old pig is about to become a frozen pig. Master, let's take a break and warm ourselves by the fire," said the pig demon. "You dead pig, what are you afraid of? Master is immortal, yet he didn't say anything," the monkey demon said. "Monkey, look over there." The pig demon pointed ahead and said, "That's the boundless sea." "Master, we've arrived at the boundless ocean," the monkey demon said. "Finally, the boundless ocean. This old pig is so tired." The pig demon sat down. "Master, we've already walked tens of thousands of kilometers. Let's take a break." Bang! He struck the pig demon's head hard. The pig demon held his head and ran to Ningmingji's side. "Master, the monkey hit me again." "That's because you're asking for it. How come you're tired from the journey? Which time has it not been this old monkey who has taken action?" said the monkey demon. "Master, I clearly." "Okay." Ningmingji shouted softly, and the 2 monsters immediately quieted down. Ningmingji looked ahead, his face full of worry. "Master, what's wrong with you? Is there a monster?" asked the monkey demon. "No." Ningmingji sighed heavily. "What I'm worried about is that there's no way to complete what the young master has assigned." "Master, what do you mean?" "The young master said that we will experience 91 hardships on our journey to the west." "Now, don't mention hardships, there isn't even a single obstacle. Everything is going too smoothly," Ningmingji said. "Master, where is there no hardships? We've all become frozen pigs. It's so cold, isn't this hardships?" "Even if this isn't. 3 days ago I was so hungry that my eyes were dizzy and I lost a lot of weight. This is finally right? Also, the last time I met a lion demon, it bit a hole in my pant. It's also a hardships, right?" When the pig demon's words reached Ningmingji's ears, a bunch of black lines appeared on his forehead. "Okay," Ningmingji shouted softly, and the pig demon immediately quieted down. "Master, is the lion demon I killed last time not counted?" said the monkey demon. "It doesn't count." Ningmingji shook his head for a while. "You killed the lion demon with a stick, and we ate for 3 days. How is this a hardships? It's obviously enjoyment." The monkey demon's expression stagnated. "Master, then I'll be gentler next time." "Don't." Ningmingji waved his hand. "If you don't do your best, it's perfunctory, the young master will naturally know. These 91 hardships must be dealt with all our strength," Ningmingji said. "Master, I understand." The monkey demon nodded. "Monkey, it's all your fault. If you were weak, we would have gone through the 81 hardships. This is great, these 81 hardships can't be completed at all." The pig demon looked at the monkey demon and sneered. "Hey, you're asking for a beating." The monkey demon rushed up with his stick and fought with the pig demon. Ding! The sound of metal colliding sounded constantly. After a while, "Ouch, don't hit my face." "Master, help, the monkey is killing the pig." "Smelly monkey, dead monkey, this old pig will not let you go." "Grandpa monkey, don't hit me, I was wrong, okay?" The drought demon looked at this scene and laughed foolishly. Eldest senior brother and second senior brother are really messing around. "It's fun, I will play for a while too." After saying that, the drought demon picked up the pole and rushed over. Seeing this scene, the pig demon and the monkey demon's face changed drastically, and without thinking, they immediately dispersed. Eldest senior brother, second senior brother, play for a while, said the drought demon. Hearing this, the two demons broke out in cold sweat. Who dares to play with a pervert like you? Last time, I was almost killed by you. Fourth junior brother, this game is not suitable for you to play, said the pig demon. I think it's fun, take me to play next time, said the drought demon. Definitely, definitely. The pig demon secretly wiped his cold sweat and looked at the monkey demon. Seeing him nod, he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After the fight, everyone returned to Ning Mingji's side and looked ahead with him. Let's go. Ning Mingji shouted softly and took the lead to walk forward. The other three followed closely behind. Soon after, the three stood by the sea. A cold wind blew past. In the snow there was suddenly a thick black smoke. In the blink of an eye, it wrapped several people up. Looking at this scene, Ning Mingji's eyes were full of light. The first difficulty is finally here, Ning Mingji said. The first difficulty? The pig demon narrowed his eyes and looked over, and his scalp exploded. Master, this is too scary. After saying that, the pig demon carried the rake and moved back. However, before he ran 2 steps, he stopped. Boom! He slammed into an invisible barrier, bounced to the ground, and bit a mouthful of ice and snow. Everyone's line of sight was blocked, and they couldn't see the surroundings clearly. At this time, a burst of laughter came from the black mist. Godly cunning immortal, you also have this day? Even if the God of heaven comes, he can't save you. Today you all must die here. The voice came from all directions like thunder in everyone's ears. Humph! The monkey demon snorted coldly. Fourth junior brother, protect master, leave the rest to me. Okay, eldest senior brother. The drought demon guarded Ning Mingji behind him with a cautious face. Pretending to be mysterious, break for me. The monkey demon waved the iron rod, aimed at the front, and smashed it. Buzz, there was a shock, the black mist collapsed, and within a radius of 2 miles, it turned into a vacuum. The monkey demon hadn't reacted yet. When he looked up, his pupils couldn't help but shrink. He saw a big dark hand, covering the sky, reach down toward the monkey demon. The monkey demon's face changed drastically and fled frantically. It's just that it was too late. A little monkey demon, dare to be presumptuous, die. Accompanied by this sound, the big hand covering the sky descended from the sky and slammed heavily on the monkey demon. Boom! The ground shook and ice and snow splashed. The earth bulged and exploded in rows. The monkey demon was slapped into the ground and disappeared. Chapter 238. Boom! Boom! The big hand covering the sky descended from the sky and kept bombarding the monkey demon's body. Every time, it would shake the snow on the ground and snow foam splashed. Can't withstand a single blow. A little monkey demon dares to be brave. A sneer came from the sky. Little monkey, die. After saying that, the giant hand covering the sky continued to slap the ground. Boom! Boom! Snow mixed with dust, forming a shock wave, attacked in all directions. Dong dong! It hit the barrier in front of the drought demon, making a thumping sound. Suddenly, a roar shook the mountains and rivers. Under the big hand covering the sky, a golden giant ape quickly grew bigger. He put his hands on the big hand covering the sky, gritting his teeth and roaring. A Buddha seal, blooming with dazzling light, blasted on the big hand covering the sky. Zizi, the Buddha seal carried a terrifying power, burning the black mist of the big hand covering the sky. The big hand covering the sky retracted as if it was electrocuted. Break for me! The golden giant ape, holding the iron rod, jumped up, crashed into the black cloud, and smashed down with the rod. Boom! There was a loud noise, the earth shook and the mountains shook. A golden light, straight to the sky. Wherever it went, the black gas dissipated. The whole world was buzzing and trembling, as if it was about to collapse. Little monkey, This seat has underestimated you. You want to deal with this seat with just this little ability, die. After this sound, the black gas was endless, rushing over quickly. In the blink of an eye, it once again enveloped the surrounding area. The black gas was like ink, devouring all the light. At this moment, the golden giant ape seemed to have lost his eyes, unable to see anything clearly. He kept waving the iron rod, knocking in all directions. However, the black gas was like silk, wrapped around the iron rod, unable to move at all. Boom! Two big hands covering the sky whistled from both sides. Like swatting a mosquito, it slapped on the golden giant ape. Buzz! The golden giant ape's head roared, buzzing. He gritted his teeth and roared, struggling to hold on. The iron rod in his hand was difficult to swing. Buzz! Another two slaps flew over. This time, the power was even more terrifying. The surrounding space shattered like a mirror. Pooh! The golden ape spat out a mouthful of blood and crashed into the ground like a kite with a broken string. Boom! The explosion created a cloud of dust. You overestimate yourself. You dare to fight with me? A contemptuous voice came from the sky. Little monkey, die. The sky-covering hand descended from the sky. A terrifying pressure descended from the sky, bringing with it black threads. It was like a black river pouring down from the 9 heavens. The terrifying pressure made it impossible for anyone to resist. The sky-covering hand was about to smash the giant golden ape into dust. At this moment, howl! There was an angry roar. Hidorigami's body transformed rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a 1,000-meter-tall giant. His entire body was emitting a dazzling golden light, making it hard for people to look at him directly. Hidorigami stretched out his hand and grabbed onto the gigantic hand that covered the sky. Then, he raised his fist, aimed it at the sky, and threw a punch. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled, and boundless waves of chi surged. The black mist evaporated and exploded. A 2,000-meter-tall black giant appeared. He stared at the Hidorigami, and his skinless face was full of a playful smile. Little bug, you want to fight with me, die. The black giant raised his sky-covering fist, aimed at the Hidorigami, and punched down. Boom! The air seemed to be shattered, and the sound of explosions rang out continuously. Before the Hidorigami could react, the fist hit the Hidorigami directly. Deng deng! The Hidorigami stepped back and hit the ground heavily. Boom! There was a loud noise. The entire mountain under the Hidorigami's buttocks directly shattered. Humph! The Hidorigami struggled, snorted coldly, and rushed straight to the black giant. Humph! You are my puppet, and you dare to attack me, die! The black giant's sky-covering hand descended from the sky. The terrifying pressure made it difficult for the Hidorigami to move. The sky-covering hand grabbed the Hidorigami's neck and pressed him into the ground. He raised his fist, aimed at the Hidorigami's head, and blasted it heavily. Boom! Boom! The loud noise continued, and the entire earth was shaking. The Hidorigami kept struggling. However, in front of the black giant, there was no chance to struggle at all. His head was roaring, and he screamed again and again. Master, let's escape, or it will be too late. The pig demon looked at this scene, his pupils contracted, and his face changed dramatically. Ning Mingji did not answer him, but sat cross-legged on the ground, put his hands together, and began to chant. Sarira, a series of scriptures gushed out of his mouth. Like golden butterflies flying all over the sky, they divided into 2 lines and went straight to the Hidorigami and the monkey demon. Under the blessing of the scriptures, the two's injuries recovered quickly. The aura on the two's bodies was also expanding rapidly. Damn evil race, break for me! The golden giant ape soared into the sky, and the iron rod in his hand emitted a golden light. Under his control, it grew rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a heavenly pillar, aimed at the black giant's head, and smashed down fiercely. Buzz! There was a sound of metal colliding. The black giant's head roared, and he was seeing stars. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the iron rod. With a gentle pull, the golden giant ape's body and the iron rod were pulled over. He raised his palm and slapped at the golden giant ape. Boom! There was a loud noise. The golden giant ape was smashed into the ground. On the other side, roar! The Hitorigami let out a roar and threw out the Buddha beads. Swish! The Buddha beads turned into countless golden beads, making a sound of breaking through the air, and slammed into the black giant. Boom! Boom! The sound of explosions kept ringing. Boom! The black giant fell heavily to the ground. The black gas on his body kept dissipating. He struggled to get up, his eyes staring at the Hitorigami as if he wanted to swallow it. Boom! Boom! The Hitorigami stepped forward and rushed toward the black giant step by step. The black giant saw this scene, and his face was extremely ugly. Damn it, don't force this seat, otherwise you will all die. The black giant gritted his teeth. However, it was useless. The Hitorigami didn't listen to this at all. In his eyes there was only anger. In that case, die. The black giant let out a roar. The black gas on his body surged up. The injuries on his body recovered rapidly. At the same time, his body was expanding rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it grew to 3,000 meters. The terrifying black gas rushed straight to the ninth heaven. Unparalleled pressure poured down from the sky, and in an instant it pressed on everyone. At this moment, the Hitorigami, the monkey demon, and the pig demon were unable to move. Even Ningmingji's chanting speed slowed down by 90%, and he couldn't spit out a word for a long time. Despair emerged in everyone's heart. This is what you forced me to do. All the members of my clan are sacrificed. You must pay the price. Today, even if God of Heaven comes, he can't save you. Godly cunning immortal, the first to die must be you. The black giant stared at Ningmingji, his eyes full of anger. He stretched out 2 fingers and pinched toward Ningmingji. Seeing this scene, the pig demon's face changed dramatically, hiding behind Ningmingji, shivering. Seeing that, the 2 fingers were about to pinch Ningmingji. Chapter 239. This is the Abyss Coast? Through the immortal boat, Sun Hao looked at the gray scenery on the coast and could not help but frown slightly. Young master, yes. Huang Ruming nodded. It's snowing, the scenery is good. Sun Hao looked at the snow around him and nodded secretly. Yes, very beautiful. Young master, do you want to play a song? Huang Ruming said. Ruming, why don't you play the zither and I play the sun? Sun Hao said. Young master, what song would you like? Besieged on all sides, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The 2 of them began to move. Boom, the faint sound of the zither reverberated out. Woo, it was a whimpering sound as if it was complaining. The 2 sounds blended together and were indistinguishable. The ancient voice echoed for thousands of miles in all directions. A sense of sorrow and desolation surged towards the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Within a radius of 10,000 kilometers, everything was silent. At this moment, even the flying snow stopped, listening to this song of vicissitudes and sorrow. On the endless coast. Godly cunning immortal, die. The black giant let out a roar, and the 2 giant fingers blasted down at Ningmingji. The terrifying might caused the surrounding air to distort and explode. Seeing that it was about to hit Ningmingji. At this moment. You dare touch my master? Die. The drought demon's entire body emitted a golden light that filled the sky as it crashed into the black giant. Thud thud, the black giant's body was unsteady as he staggered backward. Damn it! The black giant raised his fist and smashed it down at Hitorigami. Bang! With a loud sound, the drought demon was smashed into the ground. The pole in his hand flew into the distance and smashed heavily into the ground. Hitorigami struggled to get up. What greeted him was a gigantic fist that blotted out the sky, smashing down. The terrifying airwaves caused his face to tremble. At this moment, An endless chill surged through his body. In his heart, he could not muster the slightest strength to resist. Am I going to die? Hanba looked at the shocking fist, and a look of despair appeared on his face. Fourth junior brother. The golden ape let out an unwilling roar as it struggled to stand up. However, it was useless. The terrifying pressure was like millions of mountains pressing down on his body, making it impossible for him to take a step forward. Disciple! Ningmingji's face showed great shock. Just as he shouted, he was swept away by the pressure and flew out heavily. Master! The unicorn stepped on the air, caught Ningmingji, and took him away from the battlefield. No, the pig demon kept struggling under the pressure and flew far away. Everyone watched helplessly as the black fist flew towards Hitorigami. The drought demon was about to be blasted into pieces on the spot. At this moment, woo, boom, a faint voice came from the void. A sense of sorrow and desolation spread throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earth. Paired with the snow-white background, one could not help but feel sorrowful. The gigantic fist that blotted out the sky froze in midair, motionless. Few balls of black energy flew out of the black giant's body. This black energy floated in the sky like a soul, quietly listening to these desolate sounds. Woo, whimpering sounds rang out incessantly. More and more black gas left the black giant and danced in the air. No, a roar rang out. The black giant pressed down on his head, preventing the black gas from leaving. However, it was useless. The black gas did not have a physical body, so no matter what he did, he could not stop it. Damn it, come back quickly, otherwise my clan will be in danger. If the godly cunning immortal is not eliminated, we will never be reincarnated. Come back quickly. The black giant roared wildly, looking at Ningmingji in the distance, stepped forward like a giant foot, and went straight to Ningmingji. Godly cunning immortal, you must die. Boom, there was a loud noise. The black giant was knocked to the ground. He covered his ears with his hands and looked at the void. Damn it, stop playing. Please stop bragging. No, a roar of unwillingness sounded. His body split apart uncontrollably little by little. A pitch-black corpse slid down from his body and fell to the ground, turning into a pool of pus, and the stench soared to the sky. In the black giant's body, a corpse fell to the ground. These corpses melted at a speed visible to the naked eye, and finally disappeared on the spot. In the end, only the corpse puppet patriarch, Emohun, was left. He fell to the ground, stretched out his skeletal claws, stared at Ningmingji, and crawled toward him step by step. Damn godly cunning immortal, you must die, must die. Woo, the sound of mourning in the sky came from time to time. The flesh and blood on Emohun's body melted quickly. Kacha, the entire thigh broke off and separated from the body. He still did not stop and continued to crawl forward. Wisps of black smoke burned on his back, and half of his body melted. But he still didn't stop and crawled forward. He didn't stop until the flesh and blood on his body disappeared cleanly. That skeleton was full of unwillingness. Boom, a gust of wind passed, and the skeleton directly broke into powder and disappeared. Woo, in the void, the rhythm continued to sound. It gradually changed from sadness to warmth. Ningmingji turned over the unicorn, sat cross-legged on the ground, and showed a closed eyes cultivation appearance. The unicorn incarnation of a man in white also sat cross-legged beside Ningmingji, smiling. Master, the young master saved us. Drought Demon looked at the sky, his body shrank rapidly, and with a step, he came to Ningmingji's side, sat down cross-legged, and put his hands together. The young master is really a great power. The giant golden ape turned into a human and came to Ningmingji's side. The pig demon struggled to stand up, looked at Ningmingji, and then looked at the void. There was a touch of fear on his face. Then, he also came to Ningmingji's side and sat cross-legged on the ground. On the faces of the 5 people, there were smiles. The strength of their bodies was rapidly increasing. Their entire talent was also advancing by leaps and bounds. Even if the rhythm disappeared for a long time, the few of them did not open their eyes. After a long time, the 5 people opened their eyes one after another, and their faces showed infinite joy. The young master's means are simply unimaginable. This old monkey is much stronger, the monkey demon said. Ning Mingji stood up and looked in the direction of the great demon mountain, his face showing infinite gratitude. Then, he took his 4 apprentices and bowed deeply. Thank you for your life-saving grace, thank you for your good fortune. Young master, don't worry, we will definitely complete the task you gave us. This trip we will rely on ourselves, and we will not let you take action again. Ning Mingji muttered to himself, and it took a long time to calm down. Apprentices, prepare to go west. Ning Mingji said. Yes, master. The 4 nodded in unison. Master, let's go from the north, where the sea is frozen, and we can go straight to Elysium. The monkey demon said. No. Ning Mingji shook his head slightly and pointed to the front. Let's go here. What? Master, there is the endless sea, which is extremely dangerous. Legend has it that those who entered it did not come out. Hearing this, Ning Mingji smiled slightly. It is because it is dangerous that we have to go in. Why? The pig demon's face was full of surprise. Because we need to gather all 81 difficulties. Let's go, there are still 80 difficulties left. After saying that, Ning Mingji took a step forward step by step. Every step he took, a golden scripture appeared under his feet, taking him quickly. When the 4 saw this scene, they couldn't help but widen their eyes, and their faces were full of shock. Master's strength is probably not weaker than ours. Let's go. The 5 figures gradually went away. Chapter 240. On an island in the endless sea, in a tall tower covered with skulls, the soul flame and ghost candle's empty eye sockets danced fiercely. Killing intent surged and swept out in all directions. In front of him, a clan leader was crawling on the ground, shivering. Say that again. Ghost Candle's voice was cold. My lord, the people we sent to the western regions have all disappeared. A clan leader's voice trembled as he buried his head in the ground. Trash. What's the use of you? Ghost Candle extended his skeletal claw, and a grayish-white flame rose from his fingers. Master, spare me. The clan leader knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Humph, you can't even handle such a small matter. Die. The flames in Ghost Candle's hand were about to blast out. At this moment, Master, Master, a series of shouts came from afar. Then, several figures arrived at the scene. Plop, one by one, they all knelt on the ground. These people were all the other patriarchs of the evil races. What is it? Why are you so flustered? Ghost Candle asked. My lord, the 10,000 clansmen that my clan sent were attacked in the northern region of the Tianluo continent, and they were all annihilated. My lord, the 20,000 clansmen of my clan, who were hiding in the southern domain of the Tianluo continent, have all been found and annihilated. Hearing this news, the soul flames in Ghost Candle's eye sockets trembled unceasingly, letting out a series of howls. His expression was one of extreme rage. Trash, all of you are trash. Just why is this happening? Ghost Candle asked, restraining his anger. Lord, it's all because of the godly cunning immortal. He sent the flower fairies to kill our clan members from time to time. Furthermore, under the leadership of the Evil Suppressing Alliance, the humans have banded together and formed hunting teams to specifically target us. Hearing this news, Ghost Candle sat in place motionless. Only the 2 soul flames in his eye sockets were still beating. Godly cunning immortal? Ghost Candle clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking. Report. Right at this moment, a messenger skeleton quickly came over. What is it? Reporting to the Lord, the ink soul lamp has been extinguished. The corpse puppet race must have been completely annihilated. As soon as he said this, Ghost Candle staggered. The entire corpse puppet clan was annihilated? Is that true? Ghost Candle asked. Master, it's absolutely true. In order to destroy the godly cunning immortal, Mo Hun led all the clansmen to attack and used the heavenly puppet's secret technique. Presumably, he still died in the hands of the godly cunning immortal. As soon as these words came out, the surroundings were deathly silent. The eyes of the patriarchs were filled with fear. Damn it! It's you again, godly cunning immortal! Let me fight you! Just as Ghost Candle was about to make his move, buzz, suddenly, layers of ripples appeared in front of him. Two figures walked out from the ripples and suddenly appeared in front of Ghost Candle. Ghost Candle's soul flame rapidly trembled. It's you? Blood Knight. Brother Ghost Candle, do you hate me that much? Blood Knight smiled. Since you're here, nothing good will come of it. Ghost Candle snorted coldly. This is great news. The two wings behind Shui flapped, and a barrier enveloped them. If you have something to say, then say it, Ghost Candle said. Brother Gui Zhu, are you worried about the godly cunning immortal? Blood Knight asked. Ghost Candle's soul flame was slightly startled, then nodded. How do you know? I'm also worried about the godly cunning immortal. This person has ruined my good deeds time and time again. The people of my clan lurking in the Tianluo continent were all killed. Fortunately, I have a few preparations, so he didn't succeed. After saying that, Blood Knight waved his right hand, and a phantom condensed and formed. This person's appearance was exactly the same as Ujizi. It's him, Blood Knight said. You are the godly cunning immortal? Ghost Candle asked. That's right. Blood Knight nodded. No, you're mistaken, this is the godly cunning immortal. After saying that, Ghost Candle also condensed a figure. This person's appearance was exactly the same as Ningmingji. Both of them stood there stupidly motionless. For a long time. It seems that we've all made a mistake, Blood Knight said. Impossible. Ghost Candle shook his head slightly. The godly cunning immortal calculated everything, laid out in advance, and ruined my clan's good deeds everywhere. With such means, who can do it except that bald donkey of Elysium? Ghost Candle said. Brother Ghost Candle, you're right. With such ability, no one can do it except that bald donkey of Elysium. However, Brother Ghost Candle, don't you know that bald donkey has the method of transforming into thousands of bodies? Blood Knight said. As soon as these words came out, Ghost Candle froze in place and didn't move for a long time. Damn it, this godly cunning immortal is too cunning, I've been fooled. Ghost Candle clenched his fists, and his joints exploded. Brother Ghost Candle, since that bald donkey is so cunning, I have a plan. I don't know if you'd like to hear it? Blood Knight said. Let's hear it, Ghost Candle said. Since that bald donkey has transformed into thousands of bodies, presumably his main body must be in Elysium, we just need to find his main body, and then Blood Knight made a throat-slitting gesture. Blood Knight, did you not wake up today? Go to Elysium with just us? That's their lair. What's the difference between going there and courting death? Ghost Candle shook his head for a while. Brother Ghost Candle, don't worry, listen to me first. Since I put it forward, there must be a way. But, Blood Knight said. But what? Ghost Candle asked. Brother Ghost Candle, presumably you have the blood essence of the drought demon on you, right? Blood Knight asked. Blood Knight, you coming here is really not a good thing. Ghost Candle said. Brother Ghost Candle, don't worry, I'm not here to ask you for it, I'm here to find you and do that big thing together. Blood Knight said. You are a dignified demon race, frightening people, how can you need my help? Ghost Candle shook his head for a while. Brother Ghost Candle, don't say that. You and my two races are of the same breath and branch, one glory, one loss, all loss. With the godly cunning immortal here, none of us will benefit. As long as that thing is done, we can definitely make that bald donkey pay a heavy price. Blood Knight said. Hearing this, the soul flame in Ghost Candle's eye sockets gradually calmed down. That expression seemed to be thinking. A moment later. Even so what, relying on my drop alone is not enough. Ghost Candle said. Brother Ghost Candle, don't worry, I already have the other 3 drops. Blood Knight said. What? In Ghost Candle's eye sockets, the soul flame jumped rapidly. What exactly should we do? Blood Knight smiled slightly, pretending to be mysterious. I have learned a top secret news. In half a month, the dragon race will attack the Tianluo continent and massacre the human race. With that old bald donkey's personality, he will definitely not sit idly by. We just need to choose that time point to do this big thing. Blood Knight said. This method is not bad, but how to divide it? Ghost Candle asked. Half and half. That's fine. Chapter 241. Rumming, let's fly back directly. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming nodded, controlled the immortal boat, and flew toward the great monster mountain. Sun Hao looked at the scenery outside through the immortal boat and sighed secretly. After these days of experimentation, he did not find any skill with damage. Not to mention the destruction of heaven and earth, even the ground did not explode a crack. In other words, he was nothing more than a permanent buff, specializing in enhancing people's various strength. However, this buff had no effect on him. It seems that I have to collect blessing points honestly in the future. Sun Hao muttered to himself. Although he was not hurt now, the terrifying means of permanent buff would still make many big shots afraid. Once they knew, they would send all kinds of masters to kill him. At that time, he wouldn't even know how he died. Low-key, he must be low-key. These abilities must be used less or not in other places. Also, he must cultivate a group of die-hard followers. Thinking of this, Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumming and nodded slightly. This girl was definitely a die-hard follower of himself. If he asked her to go east, she would never go west. Even if he asked her to do something happy with him, it would not be a problem. Rumming needs to be trained, and find a few more reliable ones to be trained as die-hard followers. Su Yiling is not bad, Brother Chen is also good, Old One is also reliable, although Miss Mu Bing doesn't like to talk, she is also a good person. There is also Miss Lu Yen, she seems to admire me very much, and it should be no problem to train her as a die-hard follower. Sun Hao muttered to himself, thinking about all this secretly. He opened the blessing points panel and found that the blessing points had reached more than 92,000, less than 8,000 from 100,000. It will be 100,000 soon. Once it reaches it, it will be one step forward in 10 steps. I must work hard. South of Sun Hao's residence. Two figures came quickly, and after landing, they turned into 2 women. The 2 of them were Su Yiling and Taoist Ruoshi. Senior Ruoshi, I just said 100 points, did you remember all of them? Su Yiling said. Taoist Ruoshi waved her horsetail whisk and bowed slightly. Thank you for your guidance, Miss Yiling, I will remember. Senior Ruoshi, you are too polite. Su Yiling smiled slightly and looked at 100 Flowers Valley. Xiaolan, are you at home? This sound. Soon, a figure drifted over. Flower Fairy? Taoist Ruoshi was taken aback. You are? The Flower Fairy frowned slightly, her face full of confusion. The Taoist nun in front of him was both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. For a moment it was hard to tell who she was. I am Taoist Ling Su, have you forgotten me? Taoist Ruoshi said. What? The Flower Fairy quickly ran over with a look of surprise. You're still alive? Aren't you the same? Taoist Ruoshi said with a smile. What exactly is going on? The Flower Fairy asked. Sigh, it's a long story. Taoist Ruoshi told him everything about how she had transformed into Taoist Ling Su to fulfill her lover's wish. When the Flower Fairy heard this, she secretly nodded her head. Her face was full of admiration. You have someone who understands you and will never be separated from you. I really envy you. Don't talk about me. What about you? How have you been doing lately? The flower fairy told him about her recent event. Hearing this, Taoist Rua she secretly thought. It seems that the young master saved you and me. I'm afraid there is a deep meaning. Taoist Rua she said. Yes, the young master told me about the evil spirit. These days, I haven't been idle and killed a lot of evil spirits. Plus the hunting team of the Evil Suppression Alliance, more than 90% of the evil spirits in the entire Tianluo continent have been killed. The flower fairy said. What? Su Yiling's eyes widened and she looked surprised. Sister Xiaolan, aren't you too powerful? It's only been a few days. The flower fairy smiled slightly. All of this is thanks to the young master. I can now calculate the evil spirits, and killing the evil spirits is easy. Since you can deal with the evil spirits, why does the young master want to help me break through? I'm afraid it's not as simple as helping me break through. Taoist Rua she frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. Senior Rua she, don't think about it. You'll know when you see the young master. Su Yiling said. That's right. Taoist Rua she nodded. By the way, where is your master? Ai. Su Yiling sighed secretly. Master went to find old man Jiyo. Old man Jiyo? That old guy? Taoist Rua she looked surprised. Sister Yiling, why is your master looking for that old fellow? Flower Fairy asked. Sister Xiaolan, I heard from master that it seems to be the young master's request. Su Yiling scratched her head, showing a thoughtful look. Young master wants to find someone to fish, and the one who knows fishing Dao, it seems that only old man Jiyo. Hearing this, Taoist Rua she's body trembled, revealing a thoughtful look. In that case, young master helped me break through because you want me to help you find old man Jiyo? Young master only wants to fish with him? Impossible. With young master's strength, is there a need to fish with an immortal? There must be a deeper meaning behind this. I must help young master find old man Jiyo as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Taoist Ra she looked towards the east and muttered to herself, Old man, I hope you didn't offend the young master, otherwise you're finished. Sister Xiaolan, Senior Rua Shi, let's go up. Su Yiling's voice broke Taoist Rua Shi's thoughts. Alright. Flower Fairy and Taoist Rua she nodded together and followed Su Yiling up the mountain. At the foot of the mountain to the west of Sun Hao's residence, in a pavilion, Zhan Tianping stood in front of the window, waving the fan in his hand gently. He looked at the top of the mountain and frowned slightly. Young master should be back today, right? Young master, why don't we ask Miss Yiling to give the immortal gold fragment to the young master? Elder Fong asked. Ai Zhan Tianping sighed secretly. I still want to see young master again. Young master, we are just going back to the mother planet, it should be fine. Elder Fong said. Yes, young master, you don't have such good luck to run into the dragon race. Elder Jing said. It's hard to say. Zhan Tianping's face was full of sadness. There are still 3 months before the clan meeting. The patriarch is so anxious to summon us. I think there must be something important. What I worry about most is my father. Speaking of this, Zhan Tianping looked sad. Young master, the patriarch is blessed by the heavens. Nothing will happen. Elder Fong said. I hope so too. Our Zhan family, building the stargazing tower, is not only coveted by humans, but also many poisonous snakes. Even some ancient families are the same. I'm afraid that some people will be used by outsiders for their own selfish interests. I'm afraid. Zhan Tianping clenched his fists, and his joints exploded. Young master, you want to see the young master again, and I hope the young master can give me some hints? Elder Fong asked. Yes. Zhan Tianping nodded secretly. I really hope the young master will come back soon. Young master, look. At this moment, a cry of surprise sounded. Zhan Tianping looked at the sky ferry boat, and his eyes bloomed with a strange light. The young master is back. Chapter 242. Young master, are you home? Sun Hao had just sat down, and Su Yiling's voice came from outside the courtyard door. Young master, I'll open the door. And, not long after, under the leadership of Huang Rumeng, the three of them came forward. Behind Huang Rumeng, Taoist Ra, she was in awe and trepidation, her forehead overflowing with fine beads of sweat. Greetings, young master. Taoist Ra, she bowed deeply, looking very respectful. You are? Sun Hao asked. Young master, this is Taoist Ra Shi. Su Yiling said. Taoist Ra Shi? Sun Hao frowned, and then showed a look of sudden realization. I remember, the stone pagoda was given by this Miss Ra Shi, right? Thank you. Young master, you're too polite. This little thing isn't worth mentioning. Young master, I came here today to thank young master for the painting. Taoist Ra Shi said. It's just a painting, as long as Miss Ra Shi doesn't mind. After speaking, Sun Hao took out a painting scroll from his arms and handed it to Taoist Ra Shi. Miss Ra Shi, please accept this humble one's foolish work. Young master, this, many thanks, young master. Taoist Ra Shi held the scroll in her hand and trembled slightly with excitement. Ding, blessing points plus 2,000. Hearing this, Sun Hao's eyes flashed. It seemed that it would not be a problem to gather 100,000 blessing points today. No matter what, he must gather 100,000 blessing points. Thinking like this, Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said, Today, no matter what, everyone must have dinner before leaving. Yes, young master. In Su Yiling's eyes the light flickered, and she swallowed a few times from time to time. Taoist Ra Shi, who was about to find an excuse to leave, nodded slightly. Thank you, young master. Okay. The flower fairy nodded. Young master, are we eating loach again today? Su Yiling asked. Not bad. Sun Hao nodded. The weather is a little cold, then let's eat a loach hot pot. Great. Su Yiling's eyes were shining, and her face was full of surprise. Taoist Ra, she looked at the two women with a puzzled expression. A Xian immortal and an Earth immortal. Why were they so excited at the mention of food? Could it be that the food that the young master ate was not ordinary? No matter how extraordinary it was just one of the 5 grains in the human world that could only satisfy one's appetite. Flower fairy, it's just eating loach, why are you so excited? Taoist Ra Shi asked. The flower fairy smiled mysteriously. Ra Shi, you will know soon. I guarantee that when you see it, your jaw will definitely drop. Jaw dropping? Stop joking. Taoist Ra, she shook her head slightly, her face full of disbelief. Everyone, please take a seat inside. It's a little cold outside. Sun Hao walked into the living room with a few people. The charcoal fire was burning brightly, giving off a warm feeling. He set up a shelf next to the charcoal fire and poured in the tea oil. Everyone, please take a seat. I'll be right back. After speaking, Sun Hao took Huang Rumeng and left quickly. After a while, all right. Sun Hao and Su Li walked back again. When Taoist Ra she saw the plate in Sun Hao's hand, her scalp exploded. This is the loach that young master mentioned? Oh my god! This is a dragon, all right? Young master, are you going to eat a dragon? Taoist Ra she's pupils shrank, and her expression changed. In this world, besides the young master, who else would dare to eat a dragon so blatantly? That is? Suddenly, Taoist Ra she's scalp exploded again. Looking at the basin in Huang Rumeng's hand, she stood there dumbfounded. This is the immortal divine medicine. There are at least hundreds of them. What is the young master going to do with them? Is it possible? The more she thought about it, the more violent Taoist Ra she's heart beat. Although the immortal divine medicine was not a divine medicine, it was still a level higher than the supreme immortal medicine. This kind of thing was rare in the world. Every time it was born, it would trigger a phenomenon of heaven and earth, making the powerhouses go crazy. Even the immortal emperors were no exception. They could fight for a stalk of immortal divine medicine, and they could fight until the sky was dark, and the sun and moon were dim. Immortal kings and immortals didn't even have a chance to step aside. If they were not careful, they might be blasted into powder by the aftermath. This kind of thing that immortal emperors fought for could be seen in the young master's place? If she didn't pinch herself a few times, who would dare to believe it? Incredible, it was incredible! Taoist Ruo, she suppressed the shock in her heart and stared at Sun Hao's movements. She saw that Sun Hao's cooking movements were smooth. Soon, the thick white soup was cooked, and bursts of fragrance greeted her nose. What? They all fell down? Hundreds of stalks of immortal divine medicine to cook loaches? Oh no, to cook dragons! If I didn't see it with my own eyes, who would dare to believe it? Taoist Ruo, she muttered to herself, swallowing her saliva from time to time. After tens of thousands of years, there was a feeling of hunger. No matter, the dragon race is the dragon race, I will eat it. To be able to eat this meal, I have no regrets even if I die. Taoist Ruo, she muttered to herself, and it took a long time for her to recover. How is it? The flower fairy asked with a smile. It's really an eye-opener, incredible. Taoist Ruo, she transmitted her voice. Of course, the immortal divine medicine in my eyes is just a vegetable in the young master's hands, not worth mentioning. The flower fairy transmitted her voice. What kind of existence is the young master? Since ancient times, there seems to be no record of such a powerhouse. Taoist Ruo, she asked. I can't imagine that the immortal emperor is not even a slag in the eyes of the young master. The flower fairy said. The two women kept communicating with their divine senses, guessing Sun Hao's identity. Cook for a while, and it will be ready soon. Looking at the pairs of eager expressions, Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth slightly. From the looks of it, reaching 100,000 blessing points today was a sure thing. Young master, are you at home? At this moment, a sound came from outside. Young master Jean? Sun Hao's eyes lit up. Young master, I'll open the door. Huang Rumen quickly ran out. A moment later, under Huang Rumeng's lead, Zhang Tianping and the other two quickly arrived. Greetings, young master. The three bowed deeply to Sun Hao. You're welcome. It's better to come at the right time than to come early. This time you caught up. Sit down. Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. Zhang Tianping and the other two sat down, looking at Sun Hao with a fiery face, swallowing saliva from time to time. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be a problem for him to break through to Xian Immortal or even Earth Immortal today. If she hadn't come to the young master's place, how would she have dared to break through to the celestial realm? I didn't expect that the young master's place would actually become a lightning tribulation forbidden zone. All right. Sun Hao lifted the lid of the pot, and a complex fragrance came to his face. Su Yiling couldn't wait any longer. She picked up a loach and sent it into her mouth. Fragrant, tender, smooth, fresh, salty, dozens of complex tastes filled his mouth. The taste bud cells were active. It was so delicious. After one went down, Su Yiling picked up another one again. When the others saw this scene, they also started to eat. Everyone didn't care about the image of an immortal at all, and they ate freely. Ding, blessing point +1 ding, blessing point +1. Hearing these voices, Sun Hao nodded secretly, and his eyes flickered. He was getting closer and closer to 100,000 blessing points. He had a feeling in his heart that after breaking through 100,000, there would be an unexpected gain. He just didn't know what this gain was. In Sun Hao's eyes, there was a kind of expectation. He looked at everyone and nodded secretly. He saw. Everyone was eating without the slightest politeness. Suddenly, Kacha, the sound of the realm membrane cracking sounded. Zhang Tianping froze in place, full of disbelief. I broke through, I am now a profound immortal. If this goes on, it won't take long to break through to the Earth Immortal. Zhang Tianping muttered to himself, his face full of surprise. Except for Zhang Tianping, several others were also full of surprise. After the meal, Taoist Ruo, she stood up, Young master, don't worry everyone, listen to my song today before you go, how about it? Sun Hao said. Seeing that he was about to get 100,000 blessing points, how could he let you go so easily? Young master playing music? Great, I want to hear it. Su Yiling was the first to stand up and express her approval. Let's go to the yard. Chapter 243. Clang, the sound of the zither sounded, centered on Sun Hao's fingertips, vibrating and stretching in all directions. At this moment, everything within 100 li fell silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked back in the direction of Sun Hao's residence, listening attentively. The sound of the zither was sometimes gentle, like a small spring flowing in the mountains, tinkling. Sometimes it was intense, as if thousands of horses were galloping and thousands of soldiers were slaughtering each other. It was as warm as spring, as hot as summer, as cool as autumn, and as bitingly cold as winter. All kinds of tastes were constantly changing. Everyone listened quietly, their expressions motionless. Their state of mind, soul, and realm were all becoming stronger. On Sun Hao's blessing point panel, it was getting closer and closer to 100,000. 99888998889. Finally, at this moment, it had reached 100,000. At this moment, buzz, a sound shook Sun Hao's mind. His head buzzed and his expression changed drastically. It was as if someone had torn apart a membrane in front of him. At this moment, he could see spiritual qi whistling and immortal qi drifting. He saw the circulation of Dao runes and the circulation of soul power. In fact, one could even see that when he played the zither, rays of multicolored light vibrated out from his fingertips and surged throughout the world. Some entered the bodies of the people in front of them. The rest howled in all directions, surging towards all living beings. Sun Hao could clearly sense that all living things were strengthening. Can I control these colorful lights? Sun Hao muttered and began to operate with his mind. In the next second, he was surprised to find that the multicolored light completely obeyed his command. Boom, the sound of the zither continued. However, the five-colored light turned around Sun Hao and did not spread out. Enter my body. Sun Hao controlled these colorful lights and poured them into his body. However, after the five-colored light entered his body, it gushed out once again. In other words, there was no way to store them. Looks like my useless physique isn't wrong. Since that's the case, I'll give them all to Rumeng. Sun Hao murmured, using his mind to control all the colorful light to fly into Huang Rumeng's body. Phew, the multicolored radiance wrapped around Huang Rumeng and entered her body through her pores. It flowed through her meridians and throughout her entire body. Kacha, in just an instant, Huang Rumeng successfully broke through. The great Tao of destruction had successfully broken through to the celestial immortal realm. She sat cross-legged on the ground, her face full of shock. However, she didn't dare to stop now. She crazily revolved her cultivation method. In the next breath, Kacha, the great Tao of life, broke through to the yellow immortal realm. However, it did not stop. The breakthrough continued. Kacha, like the sound of firecrackers, Huang Rumeng broke through rapidly. A long time after the multicolored light disappeared, Huang Rumeng opened her eyes. That kind of uncontrollable surprise was written all over his face. Now, all the great Taos that he had comprehended had reached the supreme realm. As long as he condensed his Tao seal and passed the immortal king tribulation, he would be able to become an immortal king. However, all of this depended on one's own effort. It had only been half a year, and he had already reached this level. All of this was thanks to the young master. Young master, thank you. Huang Rumeng ran into Sun Hao's arms and hugged him tightly. Her delicate lips kissed Sun Hao's lip. The two of them hugged each other for a long time. Young master, I didn't see anything. Su Yiling's voice awakened the two, and they quickly let go. Young master's great kindness, Ruah, she will remember it. I will never forget young master's great kindness. Everyone came forward and bowed deeply to Sun Hao. "Everyone, you're welcome," Sun Hao said with a smile. Although he still couldn't cultivate, he had the ability to control the buff and release it to whoever he wanted. This ability still had to be studied carefully. It was best to study the power of self-protection. "Young master, then I will leave today." Daoist Ruo, she stood up with an anxious face. She must help the young master find old man Jiuyo immediately. "Miss Ruo, take care, remember to come often in the future," Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." After leaving Sun Hao's mansion, Daoist Ruo, she did not stop for a moment and rushed down the mountain. Then, she turned into an escape light and disappeared into the sky. "Young master, this is some iron ore I found for you." After speaking, Zhang Tianping waved his right hand. Pieces of 5 spirit immortal gold fell to the ground and piled up like a hill. "Young master Zhang, you're so polite." Sun Hao smiled and nodded. With a gesture, Huang Rumling put away the 5 spirit immortal gold. "Young master, I may have to leave Xiang Star. This time I came to say goodbye to you," Zhang Tianping said. "Leave?" Sun Hao frowned slightly. "Rumling, take out those boat cores." "Yes, young master." Huang Rumling waved her right hand, and dozens of boat cores floated in front of Zhang Tianping. "Young master Zhang, take this," Sun Hao said. "Many thanks, young master." Zhang Tianping put away the dozens of boat cores. Ding, blessing point +1 ding, blessing point +1 3 notifications rang out consecutively. After Sun Hao heard it, he could not help but frown slightly. Why were there only so few blessing points? Open the panel to take a look. Blessing point 100003. In other words, he could only receive 1 point for every gift he gave. At most, he could only give 3. The other dozens of items did not reap any blessing points. So little blessing points? Holy shit. Don't tell me I can only get 3 blessing points from one person a day. How long will it take to collect all of them? You lousy system, you're such a scammer. I'll try again later, Sun Hao secretly said. "Young master, we will also take our leave. Take care, young master Zhang. Remember to come often." Definitely. Leaving Sun Hao's residence, Zhang Tianping summoned the immortal boat and flew toward the sky. "Young master, why don't you say so and let young master give some instructions?" Elder Fong asked. "No." Zhang Tianping shook his head secretly. "Young master doesn't care about breaking our Tao heart and helping us break through continuously. This time, we have broken through to the celestial immortal realm, and when we return to the mother planet, we also have the power to fight. Not to mention..." After speaking, Zhang Tianping waved his right hand, and dozens of boat cores appeared in front of him. These boat cores given by young master are extremely not simple. Each one has the power to destroy heaven and earth. If I really encounter danger, I can sacrifice a boat core. Let me see who can take it? Zhang Tianping released his breath, and his body was full of cold, killing intent. When the 2 old men heard it, they nodded slightly. "Hey, Elder Fong, what are you holding in your hand?" Zhang Tianping asked. "Young master, this is poker." "Poker? What is this used for?" "For recreation. Can it be used to play landlord?" "Landlord. Young master, I will teach you. Purple Sun Star, on a certain continent. This continent was known as the Forbidden Land, also known as the Forbidden Land of the Immortal Emperor. Not long ago, Sun Hao drove the immortal boat and mistakenly entered this place. In the center of the Forbidden Land, suddenly, 2 storms spinning rapidly, endless waves of air, constantly shaking. The sky getting darker and darker, couldn't see 5 fingers in front of him. It was as if the light of heaven and earth was devoured, leaving only darkness. Buzz! In the center of the 2 storms, 2 red lights suddenly emitted. The red light rushed into the sky and the world was still. The 2 storms disappeared in response. Those two red lights, like the eyes of hell, opened. The red light intertwined in mid-air, like silk constantly hovering, and soon, it condensed into a giant blood-red cocoon. Soon after, Katja, the giant cocoon cracked in response. A woman broke out of the cocoon. Behind her, there were two blood-red feather wings, and her whole body was even more blood-red. He looked like a demon from hell, making one's hair stand on end. Yafei! Suddenly, a voice came from the ground. My lord! The woman knelt down. Not long ago, some ants escaped from my territory while I was asleep. You catch them for me? Yes, my lord. Remember, this year's Chinese New Year is when he is the weakest. You take action at that time. Yes, my lord. The woman shook her body, and the blood-red skin on her body became white at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even her wings became white. Her white clothes were dyed with layers of brilliance, like an angel descending, beautiful beyond comparison. Buzz, her wings shook, and after swinging layers of ripples, she disappeared. Reading benefits. Give you a cash red envelope. Follow VX Public Book Friends base. To receive it. Chapter 244. Miss Yiling, wait a minute. Sun Hao stopped Su Yiling. Hearing this, Su Yiling's body trembled. Young master is going to test me again. What should I do? Young master, what do you want? The corners of Su Yiling's mouth raised, and two dimples appeared on both sides of her mouth. Very sweet. Miss Yiling, I'm going to give you 3 things. Come with me. Sun Hao said. 3? No way? What should I do? Choosing one will take me a long time to think about it. Not to mention 3. Master, come back quickly, I can't stand it anymore. Who will help me? Su Yiling followed behind Sun Hao with a bitter face. After a while, Su Yiling followed Sun Hao to the carving room. Miss Yiling, you can choose 3 of the things inside. Sun Hao said. Inside. That's much easier. Su Yiling's eyes regained their light. Thank you, young master. 3 steps became 2 steps. Su Yiling ran into the carving room and easily found 3 broken limbs. 2 legs, 1 arm. Young master deliberately put them here, obviously to let me choose them. I'm so smart. Su Yiling grabbed the 3 broken limbs, held them in her hand, and walked to Sun Hao. Young master, can I choose these 3? Ding, blessing point plus 1 ding, blessing point plus 1 3 consecutive sounds rang. Sun Hao heard these sounds and couldn't help but nod secretly. These 3 broken limbs were deliberately placed here by himself. Unexpectedly, she didn't let him down this time. Since there was a blessing point in the account, there was nothing wrong. Of course. Thank you, young master. Then I will go down the mountain first today. Good. Go. After saying goodbye to Sun Hao, Su Yiling rushed down the mountain. When she came to the attic, she took out the communication jade slip and immediately sent a message to Chen Daoming. Young master sent me 3 broken limbs, what should I do? Chen Daoming. Send them to us immediately. Su Yiling, okay. After replying to the message, Su Yiling looked at Sun Hao's residence and couldn't help swallowing her saliva. I haven't left yet and I'm hungry? Go and come back quickly, let's go. Su Yiling turned into a rainbow and rushed to the dragon tomb. Sun Hao's residence backyard. Sun Hao sat in front of an ancient zither. Raising his head to look at the soul-sinking divine wood, his lips curled into a faint smile. Since he was a permanent buff, he could enhance various abilities. The soul-immersing divine wood was no exception. If I play this tune, it should be able to germinate, right? Sun Hao muttered to himself and began to play. Clang, the zither notes produced beautiful sound waves that turned into wisps of 5-colored light that surged into the soul-sinking divine wood. In the end, the 5-colored light was completely absorbed by the soul-sinking divine wood. After the song, Sun Hao looked up at the soul-subduing divine wood and couldn't help but frown slightly. Although the soul-sinking divine wood had regained some vitality, it still had no intention of germinating. Rumming, Why hasn't this soul-sinking divine wood sprouted yet? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the soul-immersing divine wood needs 1,000 years to germinate, 1,000 years to bloom, and 1,000 years to bear fruit. Finally, it's the 3,000-year slumber period. From the looks of it, the soul-subduing divine wood is currently in a deep slumber. It might take some time before it will sprout, Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao was shocked. In that case, it would take another 3,000 years? That would take too long. Forget it, let's try another tree. Sun Hao fixed his gaze on a cherry tree. Clang, the sound of the zither sounded. The 5-colored light instantly enveloped the cherry tree. At this moment, a miracle happened. The cherry tree grew at a speed visible to the naked eye, and in the blink of an eye, it grew from 12 meters tall to 100 meters tall. The trunk expanded rapidly, and it took several people to wrap their arms around it. On the cherry tree, glittering and translucent cherries hung all over the branches. Each one was the size of a fist, black and red, exuding an attractive luster. At a glance, it made people salivate. The sound of the zither stopped. Sun Hao looked up, his pupils contracted, and his face was full of shock. Such a big one, this cherry tree, at least tens of thousands of gene. Sun Hao stood up, walked to the cherry tree, and picked 2. Rumeng, come, taste one. And he took a light bite. The black and red juice burst all over his mouth. The unique cherry fragrance surged, sweet with a slight sourness, and sour with sweetness. It was simply delicious. After eating one, he wanted to eat the next one. Without hesitation, Sun Hao picked another one. He ate until his stomach couldn't hold it anymore, so Sun Hao stopped. So many cherries, I can't finish them all at once. Rumeng, why don't you help me and we make cherry wine together? Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng nodded, waved her right hand, and the cherries flew up and hovered in the sky. The spring water gushed out, mixed with the cherries, and began to wash. After cleaning, draining the water and putting it in a large jar. Because Huang Rumeng was an immortal, it was very simple to do this. Next was the fermentation time. This time usually took a few days. Soon, each jar was sealed and placed there. There were hundreds of large jars. I wonder if I can accelerate the fermentation by playing the zither? Thinking like this, Sun Hao sat down cross-legged and began to play. After a song, Sun Hao was surprised to find that the fermentation time was neither too early nor too late, just right. Rumeng, help me filter, leaving only the wine. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng waved her right hand, and hundreds of jars of cherry wine flew up and entangled in the sky. The residues were separated and fell into the orchard, becoming good fertilizer. A moment later, hundreds of jars of cherry wine appeared in front of Sun Hao. At a glance, it was black with red like wine. The cherry fruit fragrance mixed with the wine fragrance made people feel refreshed when they smelled it. In the wine, immortal power lingered, shining and extremely beautiful. It would be nice if there were some small jade bottles. Sun Hao muttered to himself. Young master, what's so difficult about this? After speaking, Huang Rumeng's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. When she appeared again, she held a mountain-like boulder in her hand. The boulder was so big that it was hundreds of meters high, stunning Sun Hao. Young master, how big do you need the jade bottles? Huang Rumeng asked. So big. Sun Hao took out a jade bottle and handed it to Huang Rumeng. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng grabbed with her right hand. Kacha, the boulder cracked. One by one, jade bottles flew down, piling up like a hill. Even the bottle cap was seamlessly sealed. Is this the strength of an immortal? It's incredible. With a gentle wave of his hand, countless jade bottles were created. Sun Hao muttered to himself, his eyes full of brilliance. Rumeng, pack up all the wine. Yes, young master. After speaking, Huang Rumeng waved her right hand, and more than 10,000 bottles of wine appeared in front of Sun Hao. Rumeng, how many bottles are there? More than 13,000 bottles. Huang Ruming said. So much? If you sell it, you can get a lot of immortal crystals, and at the same time, you can also harvest the blessing point. Then take this to Zhongzhou and sell it. The sooner I collect the blessing point, the sooner I can embark on the road of cultivation. Sun Hao muttered to himself, thinking secretly. Ruming, you put these away first. In addition, please help me ask Miss Xiaolan to come over. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming waved her hand, put away the cherry wine, and hurried away. After a while, the flower fairy stood in front of Sun Hao with a respectful face. Young master, are you looking for me? The flower fairy bowed and saluted. Miss Xiaolan, we need to leave tomorrow. I don't know when we will be back. If you have time, please help me take care of the flowers here, and at the same time help me feed the chicken. Young master, no problem. Leave these things to me. The flower fairy patted her chest. Thank you. Sun Hao gave a look, Huang Ruming waved her right hand, and countless soul-devouring insects flew out and piled in front of the flower fairy. Miss Xiaolan, recently Xiaoying likes to eat insects, you can feed her with these insects. Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, the flower fairy's body trembled. Young master, these are all soul-devouring insects. I don't have your strength, I can't suppress them. Okay. The flower fairy nodded helplessly. By the way, Miss Xiaolan, there are fruits, vegetables, tea leaves, and other things here. You can pick whatever you want, don't be polite. Young master, how can this be? What's wrong with that? These things can be planted at any time, and it will be a waste if you don't pick them. Thank you, young master. Also, if anyone comes to me, just say that I went to the Supreme Court in Zhongzhou. Okay, young master. Chapter 245. Supreme General Courtyard in the main hall. Principal Zhongli Lang, with hundreds of protectors, stood respectfully on the square. Hey, Zhongli Jing Tian's arrival, this is not a good thing. Zhongli Lang muttered to himself, his face full of worry. A moment later, buzz, the sky shook with layers of ripples, and a huge immortal boat stopped in mid-air. More than a dozen figures flew down from the immortal boat and landed in front of Zhongli Lang. The person at the head was a young man in a blue robe. He was Zhongli Jing Tian. Greetings, special envoy. Zhongli Lang, with a group of protectors, cupped their fists and saluted. No need for formalities, Zhongli Lang, come with me, I have something to ask you. Zhongli Jing Tian said. Yes, special envoy. Zhongli Lang followed behind Zhongli Jing Tian and came to the main hall. More than a dozen followers stood on both sides, full of power. Zhongli Jing Tian looked at Zhongli Lang and said, Zhongli Lang, I heard that the Xianyuan family and the Mu family have become supreme holy lands, is there such a thing? Special envoy, you want to? Zhongli Lang's words were not finished. He saw a figure instantly appear in front of him. A slap, fast as lightning, slapped heavily on Zhongli Lang's face. Zhongli Lang's body flew backward and hit the ground hard. A few teeth flew out in an instant, sprinkling on the ground like hail. Young master asked you, just answer, don't ask what you shouldn't ask. The person who made the move, like a ghost, gradually disappeared. Immortal? On Zhongli Lang's face, a touch of fear flashed away. He struggled to stand up and stood respectfully in front of Zhongli Jing Tian. It is true. Supreme Holy Land? Zhongli Jing Tian raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a smile on his face. In that case, then these two supreme holy lands are this young master's. When Zhongli Lang heard this, his face changed dramatically. Special envoy, you must not. Presumptuous. The shadow floated quickly, and it looked like it was about to slap Zhongli Lang's face. At this time, Zhongli Jing Tian waved his right hand and stopped the shadow. Why not? Special envoy, those two supreme holy lands, that is the work of the godly cunning immortal, we rashly occupy them, that is disrespectful to the godly cunning immortal. You will be punished by the godly cunning immortal. Zhongli Lang said. Godly cunning immortal? Zhongli Jing Tian frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful expression. A moment later, he shook his head. I've never heard of such a person. The supreme sacred land was created by him? Zhongli Lang, you actually believe these words? Zhongli Jingtian asked. Lord Envoy, it's true. Zhongli Lang told him about the godly cunning immortal one by one. The more Zhongli Jingtian listened, the more obvious his smile became. Haha, Zhongli Jingtian raised his head to the sky and laughed heartily. He looked at Zhongli Lang as if looking at a country bumpkin. Zhongli Lang, have you ever seen the godly cunning immortal? No. Zhongli Lang shook his head slightly. You haven't seen it, but you say that the godly cunning immortal is like a god? Earth-suppressing evil? Save Jiangyang? Kill the demon ancestor? Jingxi Prefecture. Only you people would believe this. Zhongli Jingtian shook his head continuously. Lord Envoy, the godly cunning immortal. All right. With a light shout, Zhongli Lang immediately shut his mouth. Tomorrow, you summon the Xianyuan family and the Mu family over, saying that there is something important to discuss. Do you understand? Zhongli Jingtian said. But, what, you dare not listen to the young master's words. Seeing the black shadows slap, Zhongli Lang reluctantly closed his mouth. Central State Sacred Land, Zhongfu Immortal City. The escape light was like rain, and the flying boats were woven. People came and went in an endless stream. As the center of the Tianluo continent, the Zhongfu Immortal City was extremely prosperous. On this day, Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng walked side by side on the street, their eyes swept around, and their faces showed a trace of shock. That is? Suddenly, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows. He saw that in the center of the Zhongfu Immortal City, there were two Optimus Prime pillars erected on the spot. There were many cultivators flying up and down around these two Optimus Prime pillars. The height of the pillars was several hundred meters, and it was particularly dazzling in the Zhongfu Immortal City. Young master, that's them building a statue, Huang Rumeng said. Building a statue? So, these are the two legs of the statue? Sun Hao asked. That's right. As soon as these words came out, Sun Hao was shocked in place. Didn't it mean that this statue was at least 1,000 meters tall? Hiss, Sun Hao took a breath of cold air, his face full of shock. Building such a tall statue, only this world would seem so easy, right? Rumeng, let's go to the tea house first. Sun Hao said. The tea house, as a good place to inquire about news, naturally couldn't be missed. Okay, young master. The two walked straight into a tea house and found a place to sit down. In a few months, the statue of the godly cunning immortal will be built soon. Yes, we can finally see the true appearance of the godly cunning immortal. It's not easy. Hearing these conversations, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows and his eyes flickered. In this Zhongfu Immortal City, the name of the godly cunning immortal was so loud. It seemed that the godly cunning immortal had saved a lot of humans. He must become the disciple of such an immortal. Sun Hao secretly made a decision. He waved to a man. Brother, can you tell me about the godly cunning immortal? As soon as these words came out, wow, all eyes swept on Sun Hao. That expression was like looking at a country bumpkin. You don't even know about the godly cunning immortal? The man asked. Naturally I know some, but I want to know more, can you tell me? Sun Hao asked. Of course, there's no problem. The man's eyes were full of fiery eyes, and he spoke with confidence and assurance. Sun Hao listened secretly, frowning slightly from time to time. What? The dragon race actually wants to slaughter the West Prefecture Immortal City. Damn it! It's too much. If it weren't for the godly cunning immortal, I'm afraid the West Prefecture Immortal City would have been destroyed. If I can cultivate, I must be like the godly cunning immortal. Sun Hao clenched his fists, and his eyes revealed an incomparably fiery gaze. When he heard that the godly cunning immortal penetrated the void and destroyed the demon ancestor with a finger of great magical power, His body trembled slightly with excitement. He didn't hear anything about the music playing after that. Young master, you don't know, there's a recent thing that's even more amazing. Southern region, young master, do you know? The man asked. I know. Sun Hao nodded. Something big happened in the southern region, when the demon Ancestor was about to destroy the entire South Prefecture Immortal City. The Flower Fairy made a move. Just one move, and the demon Ancestor was smashed. The Flower Fairy was ordered by the godly cunning immortal, and this time, in the end, it was the godly cunning immortal who saved everyone. The godly cunning immortal's means are so terrifying. After the death of the demon Ancestor, it didn't take long for the southern region to return to normal, and no one had nightmares anymore. All this is thanks to the godly cunning immortal. He is a god who saves people from suffering. Sun Hao didn't listen to the latter words at all. In his ears there were only 3 words, the Flower Fairy. It seems that the Flower Fairy knows the godly cunning immortal? When I go back this time, I'll ask her. I think I can ask the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal. Sun Hao thought secretly, the light flickering. Chapter 246. The godly cunning immortal is a supreme god. Because of his protection, we can be safe and sound. In a few months, the statue of the godly cunning immortal will be built. At that time, you can pray to the godly cunning immortal. At this point, the man's eyes shone with admiration. Sun Hao nodded slightly, took out a jade bottle from his arms, and handed it to the man. Brother, thank you. There's no need. Just tell me something that everyone knows. How can I accept your gift? The man waved his hand. A little homemade fruit wine, I hope you don't mind. Sun Hao said. Wine? I like this thing. Thank you, young master. No need. Sun Hao got up and said goodbye to the man. He quickly left with Huang Ruming. This young master has an extraordinary bearing. He must be the young master of a great family. Unfortunately, he's just a mortal. I wonder what kind of wine he gave me. Opening the jade bottle, the man was dumbfounded. Boom! His heart thumped violently, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Without any hesitation, he quickly hid the jade bottle in his soul space. This is probably supreme immortal wine. The young master actually gave away such a peerless treasure just like that. The man muttered to himself for a long time before he calmed down. Outside the tea house. Young master, are you going to see that statue? Huang Ruming asked. Not bad. Sun Hao nodded. The one who built the statue of the godly cunning immortal must have a portrait of the godly cunning immortal. We need to find a way to get the portrait of the godly cunning immortal. Huang Ruming's expression froze, and a trace of worry appeared on her face. If the young master knows that he is the godly cunning immortal, will his Tao heart be broken? Will this affect the young master? Huang Ruming muttered to herself, following behind Sun Hao, her face full of worry. Below the statue of the godly cunning immortal, a group of people were walking. The leader was the special envoy of the Supreme Court, Zhongli Jingtian. He glanced at the 2 feet of the statue, which were like 2 heavenly pillars, and a hint of anger appeared on his face. Godly cunning immortal, it's all godly cunning immortal. This young master will destroy your statue today. Let's see what you can do to me. After saying that, Zhongli Jingtian soared into the sky and rushed towards the statue. Stop! There was a loud shout. Immediately after, an old man blocked Zhongli Jingtian's path. This is a construction site. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. An idler? Zhongli Jingtian sneered, and his killing intent flashed for a moment. You must be the person in charge of the construction of the statue. If that's the case, I'll kill you first. After saying that, Zhongli Jingtian stretched out a finger and pointed it forward. Boom! With a loud bang, heaven and earth trembled. A white beam of light shot towards the old man. Ah, The old man let out a furious roar and used all sorts of methods to block that beam of light. However, it was useless. It was only for a moment. Bang! The old man's body directly exploded into a bloody mist, and he died on the spot. When the cultivators below saw this scene, they couldn't help but widen their eyes in disbelief. "Damn it, Master Lu has been killed!" "What? Who was that slut? How dare you kill Master Lu? Kill him!" A group of immortal cultivators soared into the sky and surrounded Zhongli Jing Tian. "A bunch of ants, do you want to stop this young master?" Zhongli Jing Tian revealed a playful smile and said faintly. "Damn brat, you killed Master Lu and still dare to speak so arrogantly, you must die today. Don't talk nonsense with him, let's go together and kill him." Hundreds of immortal cultivators rushed over quickly. "With just you guys?" Zhongli Jing Tian raised the corner of his mouth and casually stretched out his hand. The dazzling white ball of light quickly formed, and in an instant, it exploded in front of Zhongli Ying. Buzz! The white light flashed, and everything returned to calm. The bodies of hundreds of immortal cultivators collapsed into powder and disappeared on the spot. Around, there was dead silence. Everyone stared blankly at the sky, their expressions changing. Who is he? What does he want to do? Damn it, do all kinds of evil in the human race's territory, doesn't the Supreme Court care? He wants to destroy the statue of the godly cunning immortal, damn it. These words just finished. Boom. Heaven and earth trembled. 2 pillars of several hundred meters exploded in an instant. Boom, pieces of ore blasted to the ground and burst open. The entire central prefecture immortal city was buzzing and trembling. Everyone looked at this scene, and their faces changed dramatically. Damn it, destroying the statue of the godly cunning immortal, this is a great disrespect. That kid must die. No matter what his identity is, he dares to disrespect the godly cunning immortal. Even if I die, I will fight with you. One by one, the immortal cultivators soared into the sky and surrounded Zhongli Jing Tian. On everyone's face, there was a look of resentment. In the blink of an eye, it was densely packed with immortal cultivators. With just you guys? Zhongli Jing Tian smiled slightly, showing a look of indifference. In his hand, a white light kept moving. All of you, go to hell for this young master. Watching. Zhongli Jing Tian was ready to blast everyone to death. At this time, a black shadow appeared in front of Zhongli Jing Tian. Young master, no. What, even you want to stop me from killing ants? Zhongli Jing Tian's face showed a trace of displeasure. Young master, you are here to sharpen your mind. If this matter is known by the patriarch, I'm afraid. The black shadow said. Damn it. Zhongli Jing Tian's face showed a touch of fear, unwilling to let go of his hand. He walked forward with a smile and looked at everyone with a playful face. Ants, you are lucky. This young master is in a good mood today. Let you go. Zhongli Jing Tian's voice was faint and spread to everyone's ears. As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar all around. Everyone pointed at Zhongli Jing Tian and roared angrily. Seeing this scene, Zhongli Jing Tian looked indifferent and didn't care at all. Let's go. With a wave of his right hand, he took a few attendants and disappeared in place after the sky shook up layers of ripples. Damn it, he ran away! Destroying the statue of the godly cunning immortal, damn it! Who the hell is he? How can he be so disrespectful to the godly cunning immortal? He killed so many people. He must be severely punished. The voice of resentment kept ringing. The center of the entire city was extremely noisy. When Sun Hao and the other two rushed to the front of the statue, it was already chaotic. After a little inquiry, Sun Hao knew the ins and outs of the matter. Damn it, it's fine to be so ruthless to his own race, but he even destroyed the statue of the godly cunning immortal. The godly cunning immortal is the light of the human race. He destroyed the hope of the human race like this. This kind of person must die. Sun Hao secretly clenched his fists, and his joints exploded. This kind of person was arrogant and despotic, killing innocent people indiscriminately. He simply didn't put the godly cunning immortal in his eyes. He blamed himself for not having the strength, otherwise, he would find this kid and beat him to death. Rumming, help me find it. Where did that kid go just now? Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming released her divine sense and enveloped the entire Zhongfu immortal city. Chapter 247. I didn't see it? I must find it. Sun Hao frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. By the way, from beginning to end, it seems that I haven't seen anyone from the Supreme Court come, right? Shouldn't they take care of this matter? Go to the Supreme Court and ask. Thinking of this, Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumming. So I am the Tao Ancestor, Chapter 247. I am the godly cunning immortal? In the middle of typing, please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 248. In the east of the Tianluo continent, there was a boundless sea called the Azure Sea. In the vast sky above the sea, a figure was flying at high speed. This figure was Luo Luoyan. In another 10 days, we should be able to reach the Penglai continent. When I go to Dark Azura Hall, I should be able to find Old Man Jiu. Young Master's task should be completed in another 5 years. Luo Luoyan muttered to herself with a happy face. After using up all of her celestial power, she stopped, sat cross-legged in the sky, and began to recover. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows and suddenly opened her eyes. Seeing the figure in front of him, he was pleasantly surprised. Senior Ruoshi? The person who came was Taoist Ruoshi. She smiled and walked forward. Fellow Taoist Luo, I've finally found you. Senior Ruoshi, did you break through? Luo Luoyan looked surprised. Not bad. Taoist Ruoshi looked in the direction of the great monster mountain with a face full of worship. All of this is thanks to the young master. Not only did I break through, but my strength has also improved a few steps. Now I have reached the heaven celestial stage. Taoist Ruoshi said. What? Luo Luoyan's eyes widened and her face was full of surprise. Fellow Taoist Luo, when we return this time, you will also be able to successfully break through. Let's go find Old Man Jiu together. Taoist Ruoshi said. Thank you, Senior. Luo Luoyan clasped her fists. You're welcome. From now on, you can call me fellow Taoist Ruoshi. Taoist Ruoshi said. How can this be? Luo Luoyan was shocked. Why not? Your disciple is not any weaker than me. Taoist Ruoshi said. As soon as these words came out, Luo Luoyan was stunned again and could not calm down for a long time. Young master, just what kind of existence are you? How could you be so terrifying? Young master, thank you. Luo Luoyan looked in the direction of the great demon mountain and did not take back her gaze for a long time. Done? Let's go. Thank you, Taoist Ruoshi. You're welcome. Taoist Ruoshi waved her horsetail whisk and instantly disappeared with Luo Luoyan. Penglai continent? Dark Azura Hall, the back mountain of the forbidden area, in front of a pond of blue water. An old man wearing a bamboo hat and a straw raincoat was sitting on a rock with his eyes closed. He meditated quietly. Shape? He was like a wooden sculpture. This person was Old Man Jiu. In front of him, there was a fish basket. A fishing rod was thrown into the water. On the water, wisps of white smoke rose, making it look like a fairyland. Suddenly, Old Man Jiu's white beard trembled slightly. His mouth slowly opened. Chew, he sneezed a few times in a row. Who's scolding me again? Old Man Jiu opened his eyes and counted with his fingers. After a while, he shook his head slightly, a look of disappointment on his face. You can't see through me? I still can't figure it out. This mysterious aura? It's getting thicker and thicker. Who is it? How could it be so terrifying? Old Man Jiu muttered to himself. He shook his head. Just as he was about to close his eyes, buzz, the air in front of him rippled. 2 figures? Walk out of the ripples? He stood directly in front of Old Man Jiu. These 2 people? It was Taoist Ruo Shi and Luo Luyan. See the 2 of them? Old Man Jiu raised his eyebrows. A hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Who are you? Why are you so good at this old man's territory? Old Man Jiu said. Old man, stop pretending. I am Ling Su. Taoist Ruo Shi said. As soon as these words came out, Old Man Jiu's eyes widened, full of disbelief. You are Ling Su? After looking for a while, Old Man Jiu nodded slightly. It is indeed his aura? I didn't expect Ling Su to be a woman. What's wrong with a woman? Do you look down on women? Taoist Ruo Shi's voice was cold. Okay, Ling Su, I was wrong, okay? Old Man Jiu said. I will be called Ruo Shi from now on. I will change my name. Taoist Ruo Shi said. Ruo Shi is Ruo Shi? Why did you come to me this time? Old Man Jiu asked. Senior. Luo Luyan stood up. This time we came to you on the order of the godly cunning immortal to take you fishing. Old Man Jiu's expression stagnated. Looking at Luo Luyan, the pressure whistled and pressed on Luo Luyan. Who are you? Is it your place to speak here? In the next second, Old Man Jiu was horrified to find that the pressure he released had no effect. Luo Luyan stood in place, unaffected. How is this possible? How can a 10-step half-immortal resist my pressure? Old Man Jiu's pupils contracted, full of disbelief. Okay. With a light shout, the pressure on Old Man Jiu's body was withdrawn. He looked at Taoist Ruo Shi in horror. Don't you, I broke through, now I am a heavenly immortal. Taoist Ruo Shi said. Old Man Jiu's face changed drastically, stunned in place, and did not respond for a long time. Heavenly? Immortal? I haven't seen Taoist Ling Su, who is ranked 8th, actually far surpasses me? This is impossible, right? Old Man Jiu took a few breaths of cold air, and it took a long time to calm down. Seeing all this today, it was incredible, like a dream. Enough to shock himself for several years. Who is the godly cunning immortal? Old Man Jiu asked. The godly cunning immortal is an unimaginable existence, and the reason why I was able to break through is all because of the godly cunning immortal. He saved Jiangyang City. Taoist Ruo Shi roughly told the legend of the godly cunning immortal. Hearing this, Old Man Jiu was dumbfounded and did not recover for a while. Calculating everything, omnipotent? If there really is such a person in this world, how can the human race be weak to this extent? Fabricate, really fabricate. Old Man Jiu muttered to himself, sneering in his heart. However, there was no change on his face. So, the godly cunning immortal wants to find this old man to fish? Old Man Jiu asked. That's right. Luo Luyan nodded. In today's world, the fishing Tao is the most powerful, and only you can fish with the godly cunning immortal. Old Man Jiu's face showed a touch of arrogance. This is not false. Presumably the godly cunning immortal's fishing Tao is very powerful, right? Of course, it can be said to be superb. Luo Luyan said. Acme of perfection? On the entire Xiang star, the fishing Tao, who else but me? Who can compete with this old man's fishing Tao? She actually said that the godly cunning immortal's fishing Tao was superb? Isn't she ashamed? In that case, then compete with the godly cunning immortal and slap your face hard. It would be best to compete with him, that would be more interesting. Thinking like this, Old Man Jiu nodded secretly. So powerful, then this old man would like to see the godly cunning immortal. Old Man Jiu said. Senior, you agree? Luo Luyan's eyes lit up. Naturally. Old Man Jiu nodded. In that case, without further ado, let's set off immediately. Okay. Old Man Jiu waved his right hand and collected all the fishing gear into the soul space. Chapter 249. Central State, Supreme General Courtyard in a large hall. Principal Zhongli Lang sat in the main seat, and on the left and right were the representatives of the Xianyuan family and the Mu family. In the Xianyuan family, it was headed by the patriarch, Xianyuan Yi. The Mu family was headed by the acting patriarch, Mu Bing's father, Mu Haoran. Principal, why did you call us here this time? Xianyuan Yi said. Yes, Principal, I heard that you came to discuss with us about fighting against the evil demons, is that true? Mu Haoran said. Zhongli Lang sat in the main seat, a look of shame flashed across his face. After a while, he returned to normal and smiled at the two patriarchs. Everyone, calm down, let's have a drink first. Principal, the two evil and demon races are eyeing us covetously, how can we be in the mood to drink? What the Mu patriarch said makes sense. Since the godly cunning immortal has issued a decree, we must eradicate the evil demons as our duty. Principal, what is the matter? If there is nothing important, we will leave first. Us too. The representatives of the two great families immediately stood up and were about to leave. Hee, a laugh rang out. This sound was obviously not loud, but it was mixed with terrifying pressure. The expressions of the two patriarchs changed slightly, looking for the source of the sound, and their pupils shrank. They saw a young man walking towards the main hall step by step with several followers. Every step he took, there would be a roar, making everyone's heart suddenly tighten, as if it was about to stop beating. This young man was Zhongli Jingtian. The one who called you here is not Xianyuan Lang, but this young master. Zhongli Jingtian strode to the main seat. Xianyuan Lang hurriedly made way and retreated to the side. On his face, there was a bitter expression. After sitting down, Zhongli Jingtian waved his right hand, and the pressure on everyone instantly disappeared. Xianyuan Yi secretly wiped his cold sweat, his face revealing a look of fear. He has not reached the immortal realm, but there is such pressure, this strength is extremely not simple. Mu Haoran looked at Zhongli Jingtian and let out a long sigh of relief, his face revealing a touch of uneasiness. May I ask who you are? Xianyuan Yi asked. This young master's name is Zhongli Jingtian. You should have heard of it, right? Zhongli Jingtian said. As soon as these words came out, Xianyuan Yi's face changed drastically. Of course he had heard of this name. Zhongli Jingtian was a famous hedonistic son of the Zhongli family. He was arrogant and despotic. Even the head of the Zhongli family had to fear him. It was rumored that even their ancestor, Zhong Lizi, did not dare to offend him. Because behind Zhongli Jingtian, there was another great identity. He didn't expect that such a figure would come to the Great Law continent. He brought our two great clans together, could it be? Thinking of this, Xianyuan Yi revealed a strong sense of uneasiness. Now, the Ancestor and Shikachan had gone to the Dragon Tomb and had yet to return. What should he do? Xianyuan Yi muttered to himself and thought to himself. So it's young Master Zhongli. May I know why you're looking for us? Xianyuan Yi asked. Just a small matter. Zhongli Jingtian showed a faint smile, revealing a casual look. I don't have enough cultivation resources recently, so I want to borrow some from you. Borrow some? You're robbing me by force. Relying on his identity, he brazenly robbed others? Damn it. Young Master Zhongli, I have some here. After that, Xianyuan Yi took out a space ring and handed it over. Oh! Zhongli Jingtian raised the corner of his mouth, picked up the space ring, opened it, and his face was full of sneers. Xianyuan Yi, are you trying to dismiss a beggar? You dare to take out a mere 100 immortal crystals. Zhongli Jingtian threw the space ring on the ground and looked at him coldly. Young Master Zhongli, don't hide it anymore. Tell me, what is your purpose in looking for us? Mu Haoran stood up and said. Good, straightforward. Zhongli Jingtian clapped his hands quickly, his expression gradually became cold. I'm looking for you for two things. First, each of you give me 100,000 immortal crystals. Second, your family members must immediately move out and return your residence to this young master. Zhongli Jingtian said. What? The representatives of the two great clans stood up one after another, unable to restrain their anger. Zhongli Jingtian, you're going too far. Do you really think we're afraid of you? Zhongli Jingtian, others may be afraid of you, but we are not. This is not the Zhongli family, it's not your turn to tell us what to do. When Zhongli Jingtian saw all this, a playful smile appeared on his face, but he didn't care about it at all. His eyes were fixed on the two patriarchs, motionless. Xianyuan Yi and Mu Haoren waved their hands at the same time, and the elders behind them immediately shut up. What if we don't want to? Xianyuan Yi said. Don't want to? Zhongli Jingtian smiled slightly. Then it's up to you. However, this young master would like to advise you, for one less immortal crystal, I will kill one of your clansmen. At noon tomorrow, if there are still people in the mansion, then this young master will go on a killing spree and slaughter everyone inside. Zhongli Jingtian said with a smile. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding air was stagnant. The elders of the two great clans clenched their fists, and their joints exploded. Damn it, damn it! This kind of scum, why didn't anyone come to manage them? They actually took a fancy to our supreme holy land. This was given to us by the godly cunning immortal. Even if we die, we must protect it. What? Not convinced? Want to kill this young master? If you have the ability, then make a move. Try and touch this young master. Zhongli Jingtian said with a smile, his demeanor extremely arrogant. Anyone who saw him wanted to kill him. It was indeed so. Who, in an instant, the four elders split into four directions and went straight to Zhongli Jingtian. Each of them used a killing move to take Zhongli Jingtian's life. No! Zhongli Lang looked at this scene and secretly said that it was not good. It was just that, where was it useful? The corners of Zhongli Jingtian's mouth raised slightly, revealing a cold smile. This is what you guys did to this young master first, father. You can't blame me for this. I am protecting myself. Zhongli Jingtian smiled slightly and stretched out his hand unhurriedly. A ray of light darted at the tips of his fingers. Pressing forward, a dazzling light bloomed, making people unable to look directly at it. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. The four elders who made a move, their bodies stagnated, motionless. Even their consciousness seemed to react slower. Boom! Boom! 4 explosions sounded. The bodies of the 4 elders burst open one by one like bombs, dying tragically on the spot. Zhongli Jingtian stood up and walked toward the 2 patriarchs step by step. Dare to attack this young master, do you know what this means? No one dares to say anything even if I destroy your 2 great families. Zhongli Jingtian waved his right hand, and Xianyuan Yi's body flew out uncontrollably, falling in front of Zhongli Jingtian. Boom! Stepping on Xianyuan Yi's face, Zhongli Jingtian looked at him condescendingly. In my eyes, you are all ants. Originally, you don't even have the right to speak to this young master. If it weren't for father, would this young master be so restrained? Do you know, this young master has been waiting for this opportunity. Today, no one can save you. After saying that, Zhongli Jingtian pointed his right hand, and a white beam of light danced at his fingertips. Chapter 250. Milord, you can't. Meanwhile, Zhongli Lang ran over and stood before the black-robed man. What, you want to stop me? The black-robed man looked at Zhongli Lang with a ridiculing gaze, and his voice was icy cold. Sir, you can't. If you do this, you will regret it. If the godly cunning immortal learns about this, the consequences will be unimaginable. Zhongli Lang knelt before the black-robed man, and he supported the black-robed man's arm with both hands, preventing him from making a move. The black-robed man smiled slightly. Godly cunning immortal? Isn't he able to calculate everything? I'm sure he knows about these things, right? If that's the case, why hasn't he appeared after I killed a few people? I didn't save you. Also, yesterday, the Iron Fur Spirit Wolf destroyed so many half-immortals, Where is the godly cunning immortal you mentioned? In my opinion, even if there really is a godly cunning immortal, when he sees this seat, he will also kneel down and beg for mercy, shivering. The black-robed man looked down at Zhongli Lang with a sneer on his face. Since you want to stand out, I'll kill you first. As soon as he finished speaking, the black-robed man stretched out his hand and pressed it down towards Zhongli Lang. Phew! A wisp of black light directly blasted onto Zhongli Lang's body. Bang! Zhongli Lang was like a kite that had its string cut, and he was blasted flying before smashing heavily onto the ground. His chest was caved in and all the bones in his body were broken. He was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Not dead? The black-robed man's expression froze, and a trace of surprise appeared on his face. Wait till I'm done with them, then I'll deal with you. The black-robed man looked at Xian Yuan Yi and stepped on his face. And, do you have any last words? Bah! If you want to kill me, then kill me. If I frown, I'm not a man. Xian Yuan Yi said. Haha, if you want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. With that said, the black-robed man waved his right hand, and a black light flickered at his fingertips. My lord? No. At this moment a sound was heard. The black-robed man looked up. His expression changed slightly. Zhongli Lang stood up once more. He was the one who spoke. All the injuries on his body were healed. The Grand Tao of Time? Go back to the past? Interesting. As soon as he finished speaking, the black-robed man instantly appeared in front of Zhongli Lang. He stretched out his fist and punched him hard in the face. Old thing? Do you think I won't dare to kill you just because your surname is Zhong? Even Zhong Lizi has to be courteous to me. Since you really want to die, this seat will fulfill your wish. The black-robed man punched towards Zhongli Lang. Hit him until he saw stars? Blood splattered everywhere. Overall appearance? It was incomparably miserable. Zhongli Lang was about to be beaten to death. At this moment, Principal Zhang, a cry of surprise? It arrived quickly. Walked into the main hall? It was a purple-robed man. Did he see this? He could not help but be scared silly on the spot. The purple-robed man stared at the black-robed man. His body could not stop trembling. The purple-robed man screamed. Turning into an afterimage, Zhang Xian quickly left. Murder? The demons are killing people. The Grand Dean is going to be killed by the evil spirit. Help! His loud cries resounded throughout the world. At this moment, the entire hall? There was dead silence. Demon? Murder? Hee. The black-robed man released Zhongli Lang and took a step forward. In an instant, he disappeared from his original spot. When he appeared again, he had already arrived in the sky above the Supreme Court. Looking around, his face could not help but change slightly. He saw. In the sky in all directions there were cultivators. It was so densely packed that it was impossible to see the end. Who is he? Why is the aura on his body so evil? He has the aura of an iron-furred wolf. It was definitely him who released the iron-furred wolf yesterday. Damn it! This kind of person can't live in this world. The noise kept ringing. The whole place was in an uproar. Every cultivator showed a look of righteous indignation. Hee, the black-robed man's mouth slightly curved, looking at the crowd of cultivators, his face full of a playful smile. So what if it's me? After speaking, the black-robed man waved his right hand. Buzz, the sky shook, and in front of him, a teleportation vortex formed. An iron-furred wolf with a height of tens of meters emerged from the ripples, like a giant mountain across the sky. Its blood-red eyes looked coldly at the crowd. The endless pressure formed a gust of wind, spreading in all directions, shrouding the world. At this moment, boundless coldness enveloped everyone's body. Everyone's pupils shrank, and their faces changed drastically. This is not a half-immortal level savage beast, but an immortal level savage beast. My God, to be able to control an immortal level savage beast, isn't that person an immortal? What should we do? Their bodies trembled, fear and despair surged all over their bodies. Don't be afraid, gather your firepower and attack at the same time. At this moment, Mu Shiji flew in front of the iron-furred wolf and shouted. His voice was like thunder rolling out. This sound awakened all the cultivators. Rise! Following Mu Shiji's loud shout, all the cultivators moved together. Everyone's movements were neat and orderly, and they attacked at the same time. Swish, hundreds of thousands of rays of light broke through the sky and arrived quickly. In an instant they hit the iron-furred wolf. Boom! A dull explosion resounded through the sky. The dazzling light made people unable to open their eyes. The shock wave spread layer by layer and exploded in all directions. Buzz! Buzz! All the cultivators made their moves at the same time, forming a huge shield in front of them. The shield swayed as if it would break at any time. When everything stopped, everyone opened their eyes and saw the scene in front of them. They couldn't help but be startled. What? Not dead? No injuries at all? How is this possible? With so many people attacking, even an immortal should be dead. Everyone's eyes widened, revealing an unbelievable expression. Only to see. The iron-furred wolf stood in place, without a trace of injury on its body. A bunch of ants. Do you think you can hurt my little wolf? Since all of you want to destroy me, then receive my wrath. Speaking up to hear, the black-robed man looked at the iron-furred wolf and pointed at the group of cultivators. Little wolf, kill, leave no one alive. As soon as these words came out, Howl, the iron-furred wolf, let out an excited roar. Kacha, a series of joints exploded, continuous. The iron-furred wolf's body rapidly expanded, and in an instant, it grew to 100 meters tall. Its whole body lit up with a dazzling red light. The shocking pressure spread all around. At this moment, the group of cultivators were like trapped in a quagmire, unable to move. This actually made me unable to produce the slightest resistance. Mu Shiji clenched his teeth and struggled frantically. However, it was useless. No matter how he tried, he couldn't move half a step. He could only watch the iron-furred wolf's claws fall from the sky, powerless to do anything. Sister Mu Bing, I didn't lose face. Godly cunning immortal, the person I want to see the most in this life is you. Goodbye. Mu Shiji closed his eyes, and 2 lines of tears fell from the corners of his eyes. Kacha, the sky was like a mirror, shattering inch by inch. The huge claws fell down rapidly. Chapter 251. The sky-covering claws fell from the sky. It aimed at hundreds of cultivators and slapped down. Wherever it went, the space shattered inch by inch. The terrifying power destroyed the sky and the earth. A group of cultivators were crushed in place, unable to move at all. They could only watch the claws fall, powerless to do anything. Boom! There was a shock. This sound was not loud, but it shook everyone's ears and made them dizzy. Everything around them seemed to have lost its color and fell into a brief darkness. When everything stopped, everyone looked up, and their pupils couldn't help but contract. They saw. The giant claw of the iron-fur wolf directly collapsed in place. It stared blankly at its own claws, stunned. Subsequently, woo, a lament resounded through heaven and earth. This sound woke everyone up with a start. I'm not dead, I'm still alive? Who saved us? It must be the godly cunning immortal who sent someone to save us. Thank you, godly cunning immortal. Exclamations kept ringing out. Mu Shiji touched his face, feeling that everything was extremely unreal. Godly cunning immortal, did you really save me? Mu Shiji muttered to himself, his eyes full of emotion. This is impossible. The man in black robe muttered to himself, with a look of disbelief. He was very clear about how strong an immortal-level savage beast was. How could its claws be broken so easily? When did a small Tianluo continent have such a strong person? Damn it! The man in black robe cursed, and fine beads of sweat overflowed on his forehead. His eyes swept around, and his divine sense shrouded. However, he didn't find any immortal-level powerhouse. Who is it? Playing tricks? If you have the guts, come out and fight with this seat. The man in black robe's voice was faint and spread in all directions. However, no one responded. In that case, kill. Little wolf, use your ultimate move and kill them all. The man in black robe roared loudly. As soon as these words came out, Howl, the iron fur wolf, struggled to stand up. It howled to the sky. Its whole body lit up with a dazzling red glow. Every hair? It was as if it was burning red. Wisps of black lightning shot out from its mouth. Sizzle, every strand of it exploded with a soul-stirring power. Every single strike caused the entire world to tremble. These black electric arcs gathered together? It formed a huge ball of black lightning. Swish, a black lightning ball descending from the sky? It exploded. The entire world instantly fell into endless darkness. Wait until everything calms down? Everyone came back to their senses. I'm not dead? I'm really not dead. Just who saved us? That's amazing! What's that? An exclamation rang out. Everyone narrowed their eyes and looked over, and they were instantly stunned. His eyes were filled with shock. They saw. A white-robed youth stepped through the air, walking towards the black-robed man. The young man was 8 feet tall? Handsome? There were no energy fluctuations coming from his body. With a wave of my hand? However, the Taoist rhyme continued to flow out. That carefree expression of his? He was like a god who controlled everything. It was Sun Hao. What is he holding in his hand? It was the black lightning ball. Sizzle, terrifying power? It exploded at Sun Hao's fingertips. Every strand? It seemed to be able to destroy heaven and earth. Such a scene was seen in everyone's eyes. They couldn't help but feel their scalp explode. Cold sweat flowed. Who is this young master? What a powerful strength, such a terrifying blow. He actually caught it with his body. He's too strong. I can't see his strength. I'm afraid he is at least a profound immortal. So handsome? I wonder if this young master has a Tao companion? The light of worship flickered and never extinguished. Everyone's gaze? They all stared at Sun Hao, staring at him foolishly. This is impossible. The black-robed man looked at Sun Hao and kept shaking his head. Wu, the iron-haired wolf, let out a sad cry, and its body shrank rapidly. Finally, it turned into a height of tens of meters, and the hair all over its body stood up. Howl, it kept growling at Sun Hao. It was like a vicious dog baring its teeth, ready to attack at any time. Sun Hao did not look sideways, calmly looked at the black-robed man, and walked forward step by step. The human race is weak and should be united. Some scum repeatedly bully the same race. Arrogant and despotic, insufferably arrogant. In front of other races, they bow and scrape without any dignity. The evil is rampant. The dragon race slaughters the human race. Who is it? Suppress the evil and save the human race? Who is it? Expel the dragon race and integrate the human race? These are all the godly, cunning, immortal. He does not care about fame and fortune, regardless of the Tao heart. For the sake of the human race, he attacked again and again. Some people only know internal friction and don't know how to unite. How cold will the godly, cunning immortal be to know this? Sun Hao's voice was faint, resounding throughout the sky, reaching everyone's ears. When the group of cultivators heard this, they were moved. On the faces of many female cultivators, tears were already streaming down their faces. It's you. Sun Hao's words turned, and his eyes stared at the black-robed man. You are the scum of the human race. Learn a different method and bully your own race. Treat your own race as ants and kill them at will. Tell me, do you deserve to die? Now, you actually want to destroy hundreds of thousands of cultivators. What is the difference between you and the evil? Tell me, do you deserve to die? Today you must die. Sun Hao's cold eyes stared directly at the black-robed man. The black-robed man suddenly trembled and shook his head violently. Damn it, I was actually scared by a mortal. You want to deal with this seat with this kind of psychological attack. Hee little doll, you go back and drink some milk. Little wolf, go. The black-robed man pointed with his right hand. Whoosh, the iron fur wolf aimed at Sun Hao and rushed out, so fast that people couldn't react. Sun Hao smiled coldly and waved his right hand gently. I'll let you eat it yourself. Who, the black lightning ball, from Sun Hao's hand, rushed out and blasted on the iron fur wolf. Buzz, there was a shock, heaven and earth lost color, and everyone was deaf. When everything returned to calm, where was the figure of the iron fur wolf? This, impossible. The black-robed man's body trembled, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. The wolf cub was actually blasted into nothing. How did he do it? He clearly didn't mobilize any power. It was just that the wolf cub's move couldn't have this kind of power. Now, what should I do? The black-robed man's legs trembled involuntarily. With the young master's support, what's there to be afraid of? Fight! The black-robed man snorted coldly, waved his hands, and countless electric lights condensed in his hands. However, Sun Hao glanced over. Who? The electric lights condensed and the black-robed man's hands disappeared. Impossible! The black-robed man looked at his hands in a daze, his face sallow as if he was dead. The next second, he was even more silent and speechless. He was horrified to find that the immortal power in his body seemed to have lost contact and didn't listen to him. You, who the hell are you? The black-robed man pointed at Sun Hao, his voice trembling. Chapter 252. Who I am is not important. What's important is that you must die today. Sun Hao stood in front of the black-robed man and twisted him up with one hand. This hand seemed to be able to seal everything. At this moment, the black-robed man realized that he had lost all his strength. Even the words that came out of his mouth were barely audible. Die. Sun Hao raised his palm and slapped it at the black-robed man. Sensing the power that could destroy everything, the black-robed man's body trembled and his expression changed dramatically. Young master, save me! Using all the strength in his body, the black-robed man shouted these words. After this sound, pop, pop, waves of applause came from above. Your strength is not bad. A young man in an embroidered robe descended from the sky with 4 men in black robes. Each of them exuded the aura of an immortal. The youth in the lead was Zhongli Jingtian. He was the one who applauded just now. Zhongli Jingtian smiled at Sun Hao and nodded with satisfaction. Seeing this scene, the expressions of the surrounding cultivators changed dramatically. 5 immortals, my god! When did celestial force become so worthless? What should we do? That young master is in danger. The onlookers stared at Sun Hao with worried faces. However, Sun Hao's hand speed did not slow down, and it fell directly on the black-robed man in his hand. Gotcha! There was an explosion. The black-robed man's brain burst open, and he died on the spot. Seeing this miserable scene, Sun Hao's face changed slightly, and he quickly turned his head. Although he had seen a horrible scene in Jiangyang City. But this was his first time, so he felt a little uncomfortable. After taking a few quiet breaths, Sun Hao felt better. He raised his head and saw that everyone was rooted to the spot. The expressions on everyone's faces were similar. That kind of shock, that kind of surprise, words could not describe it. He killed an immortal with a single punch. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, who would have believed it? What was shocking was not only Sun Hao's strength, but also his courage. He killed an immortal right in front of 5 immortals. Was he not giving them face at all? They would not rest until one of them was dead. Who could compare to such courage? Zhongli Jingtian stared blankly at this scene. The corners of his mouth twitched. Soon, he regained his composure and smiled as he walked forward. Hello, young master, my name is Zhongli Jingtian. Zhongli Jingtian said. As soon as these words came out. What? His name is Zhongli Jingtian? Oh my god? Why is he here? He is an existence that even the number one immortal of the human race, Zhong Lizi, fears. It is said that he came from the Blood Wolf Star? He lives in the Zhongli family. No wonder he's surrounded by immortals. Cheers? It kept ringing. Everyone looked at Zhongli Jingtian with eyes filled with awe. Seeing this scene, Zhongli Jingtian raised his head slightly, showing a hint of pride on his face. Not good. Sun Hao stared at Zhongli Jingtian without the slightest politeness on his face. Are they your subordinates? Sun Hao gently tossed it. The corpse of the black-robed man fell heavily to the ground. It rolled beside Zhongli Jingtian's feet. What he did? Did you instruct him? Sun Hao's voice was cold. Impudent! There was a loud shout. Behind Zhongli Jingtian, a black-robed man rushed over. In an instant, he was standing in front of Sun Hao, raising his palm and slapping down. You dare to disrespect the young master? Die. The next second, the black-robed man's face changed dramatically. His palm was caught by Sun Hao. He couldn't summon any strength at all. Gotcha, Sun Hao gently exerted force. The sound of bones breaking sounded. Young master, let's talk. Zhongli Jingtian ran forward, with a flattering face. Talk my ass, he wanted to kill me, you didn't stop him, and now you're being controlled by me? Why are you saying good things about me? Who do you think you are? Get lost. After saying that, Sun Hao raised his palm and slapped it directly. Boom. The black-robed man's head cracked. After his body twitched strangely a few times, there was no movement. This Sun Hao's expression stagnated. Rumming, I wanted to kill him a few more times. Why did you kill him? AI, it seems that the tacit understanding is not enough. Sun Hao thought secretly, but his face did not change. Zhongli Jingtian looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Two balls of anger from the soles of his feet seemed to burst his chest. Kid, this young master intended to make friends with you, but you killed my servants again and again. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Zhongli Jingtian's voice was cold. Just you? Do you deserve it? You sent servants to kill innocent people. Send people to destroy the statue of the godly cunning immortal. You still want to make friends with me. Today, you must compensate 1 million immortal crystals, and at the same time, kneel to the dead and ask for everyone's forgiveness. Otherwise, you won't get out of here today. Sun Hao looked at Zhongli Jingtian and said lightly. Zhongli Jingtian clenched his fists, and his joints exploded. The anger was like a wave, continuous, constantly hitting his chest. His whole person seemed to explode. It was the first time he was forced to this point. This is you forced me. Do you really think this young master is afraid of you? Kill for me, regardless of life or death. As soon as these words came out, whoosh, behind Zhongli Jingtian, 3 men in black robes rushed straight to Sun Hao. Seeing this scene, the corners of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly, revealing an indifferent expression. With Ruming's secret help, not to mention a few yellow immortals, even if it was a celestial immortal, so what? Kid, how dare you be so disrespectful to the young master? Die. The 3 looked at Sun Hao coldly, and the killing intent on their bodies was not concealed. As they flew over, they released the pressure on their bodies at the same time and rushed straight to Sun Hao. It seemed to rely on pressure to crush Sun Hao into powder. However, they were horrified to find that Sun Hao stood in place, and his face did not change. He didn't even call on any power to resist. How is this possible? How did he do it? What realm has he reached? The faces of the 3 were full of surprise. In the next second they sank into hell, extremely terrified. They saw. Humph! Sun Hao snorted coldly and swept a glance. This look was like the demon eye of hell. With the power to imprison everything, it instantly enveloped the 3 of them. At this moment, all the power of the three was imprisoned. Even moving a finger was extremely difficult. Damn it! Impossible, how can he be so terrifying? With one look, he imprisoned me? Even the ancient demon emperor is not so terrifying, right? The three muttered to themselves, and their bodies trembled involuntarily. They looked at Sun Hao with eyes full of fear. Sun Hao also stared at the three and nodded secretly. Rumming is really powerful, and she restrained them all at once. Sun Hao walked toward the three of them step by step. You all are accomplices to the tiger and do all kinds of evil. Such a snobbish villain, you also want to follow. If that's the case, then go to hell. After speaking, Sun Hao raised his fist, aimed at one of their heads, and blasted it down. Boom! There was an explosion. The man's brain burst, and he died on the spot. Such a scene directly scared the other two people in place. Plop! The two knelt on the ground and kept saluting Sun Hao. Master, spare us, we were wrong, please give us a way out. Sir, we won't follow him anymore, I beg you. The two kept begging for mercy, and their voices were full of trembling. Suddenly, whoosh, two beams of light came quickly and instantly pierced into the eyebrows of the two people. The two bodies fell down softly. Chapter 253. The one who had attacked was Zhongli Jingtian. This is the consequence of betraying this young master. Zhongli Jingtian smiled coldly and stared at Sun Hao. This young master will ask you again. Submit or perish. Zhongli Jingtian asked. He. Sun Hao smiled slightly and did not answer. He slowly walked towards Zhongli Jingtian. Looks like you've chosen death. Since that's the case, then die. Zhongli Jingtian stretched out his hands and let out a long howl towards the sky. Come out, my blood wolf! A loud roar shook the sky until it rumbled and trembled. Few, dark clouds gathered in the sky. These dark clouds spun rapidly, sending out shockwaves. A huge blood-colored wolf head peered down from the sky. Immediately after, a blood wolf emerged from the dark clouds. It was 100 meters tall, like a giant mountain lying in front of Sun Hao. The air around Blood Wolf was distorted, and heat waves rose. The high temperature roared in all directions. The cultivators' expressions changed drastically as they retreated and watched from afar. Oh my God, it's the Blood Wolf from the Blood Wolf Star! Supposedly, every single Blood Wolf would attain the mysterious immortal realm after they mature, and their strengths are extremely terrifying. No wonder I can't breathe even though I'm so far away. Isn't that young master in danger? What should we do? Everyone's faces were filled with worry. Sun Hao looked at the blood wolf in front of him, and his heart beat violently. Such a big wolf, just one of its claws was like a building. If it had landed on a human body, wouldn't it have turned them into minced meat? However, with Ru Meng present, what was there to fear from a tiny mysterious immortal realm bloodwolf? Bloodwolf, tear him to pieces! Zhongli Jingtian pointed at Sun Hao and roared. Phew! Sun Hao swept his eyes and stared directly at Bloodwolf. At this moment, Xueleng felt as if he was being stared at by a peerless demon. All the hair on his body stood up. His entire body was trembling non-stop. Woo! The blood wolf let out a mournful cry, and its body rapidly shrank. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a red puppy. It crawled at Sun Hao's feet, shivering. His eyes were filled with a pleading look. Silence. It was very quiet. Dead silence. Everyone stared blankly at this scene in disbelief. That kind of shock, that kind of surprise, that kind of disbelief. It was written all over everyone's face. After a while, hiss, the sound of people gasping could be heard. My God! A single glance is enough to make the blood wolves submit. I'm afraid even immortal kings don't have such ability, right? Who is that young master? How could he have such a shocking technique? He looks like a mortal, but this method is unheard of. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. The light of worship swept over him continuously. In the crowd, Mu Shiji stared blankly at Sun Hao and couldn't help but widen his eyes. It turns out that young Master Sun Hao is so powerful. Fortunately, he came. Otherwise, I'm afraid we would all die here today. Young Master, thank you. Mu Shiji looked at Sun Hao with gratitude. Below, on the square of the Supreme Court, Xian Yuan-yi looked at Sun Hao's figure in the sky, and he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and widen his eyes. It's the young master. I didn't expect the young master to personally come, my ancestor. As the patriarch of the Xianyuan family, he had naturally seen Sun Hao's portrait. At first glance, he recognized Sun Hao. Young master, I didn't expect you to personally come and save us. I'm ashamed. I must go and thank the young master immediately. Xianyuan-yi was about to fly up. At this moment, he seemed to think of something. No, the young master cultivates with a mortal body. I can't break the young master's Tao heart. Now, the young master has not admitted that he is the godly cunning immortal, so he must not be broken. Xianyuan-yi muttered to himself and thought secretly. Looking back, he happened to meet Mu Haoren's eyes. The two nodded to each other, and everything was said without words. Looking at the sky again, the corner of Zhongli Jingtian's mouth twitched slightly, and his face changed again and again. Little wolf, come back for me! Zhongli Jingtian roared. It was useless. The blood wolf crawled at Sun Hao's feet, motionless. Sun Hao saw this scene, and the corner of his mouth rose. Just now, what he used was the beast taming technique. Unexpectedly, with a little use, even the immortal grade blood wolf was tamed. The supreme beast taming technique was really not for show. In this way, as long as he tamed a group of wild beasts in the future and brought them with him, he could completely protect himself. Even if Rumming was not around, he would still be safe and sound. Thinking like this, Sun Hao secretly nodded. I'll give you a name, you'll be called Big Wolf. Sun Hao said. Woo. The blood wolf nodded and kept rubbing its head against Sun Hao's trousers. Damn it. Zhongli Jingtian saw this scene and secretly cursed. Big Wolf, go teach him a lesson. Sun Hao pointed to Zhongli Jingtian and said. Woo. The blood wolf nodded, turned around, and growled at Zhongli Jingtian from time to time. Little wolf, don't listen to him, come back for me. A shrill scream shook the heavens. The blood wolf pounced on Zhongli Jingtian and kept biting. I am your master, stop, stop. Damn animal, where are you biting? Do you want this young master to have no descendants? Animal, I will not let you go. A moment later, the blood wolf returned to Sun Hao's side. Zhongli Jingtian's body was full of deep bone-visible wounds, and the blood was like a spring trickling down. It looked terrible, and people could not look directly at it. He struggled to take out a jade bottle, poured out a pill with an extremely painful expression, and sent it into his mouth. Immediately afterward, the injuries on Zhongli Jingtian's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye, and in less than a moment, he recovered to his original state. He stood up and stared at Sun Hao. Kid, you have completely angered me. Today, even if God comes, he can't save you. Zhongli Jingtian said one sentence at a time, and his anger was monstrous. However, Sun Hao's gaze swept over. It swept directly on Zhongli Jingtian. This gaze was like the eyes of hell. Zhongli Jingtian's hair stood on end, and his whole body trembled involuntarily. His physical strength was rapidly lost. All the immortal power in his body was imprisoned. How is this possible? What the hell are you? What kind of monster are you? Zhongli Jingtian's voice trembled, and he looked at Sun Hao in horror. Sun Hao did not speak, but walked towards Zhongli Jingtian step by step. What do you want to do? A kind of fear from the bones surged throughout his body. What do you think? Sun Hao smiled at Zhongli Jingtian and clenched his fist. You dare to hit me? Zhongli Jingtian's expression stagnated. Sun Hao did not speak, but stood in front of Zhongli Jingtian, looking at him coldly. He raised his fist, aimed at Zhongli Jingtian's face, and blasted down. You dare! Zhongli Jingtian struggled frantically, but all the power in his body was imprisoned, and he could not move at all. That fist seemed to have no power, but it carried a kind of fatal crisis, rushing to his heart. At this moment, endless fear spread throughout Zhongli Jingtian's body. Save me, Uncle Zhu! Zhongli Jingtian roared. After this sound, a sudden change occurred. Chapter 254. A ray of red light flew out from Zhongli Jingtian's hand and exploded in the sky. A blood-colored teleportation vortex appeared in the sky. A ruthless aura surged out from the blood-colored vortex and spread throughout the world. In an instant it enveloped everyone. At this moment, a chill seeped into his bones. The cultivators' bodies trembled, and their expressions changed drastically. What is this? How terrifying! I feel like my heart is going to stop beating. What should I do? This pressure is too terrifying, I can't move. I'm afraid it's a heaven immortal level savage beast. With such a violent aura, I'm afraid this savage beast is not simple. Voices of shock could be heard continuously. Zhongli Jingtian looked at the sky, his forehead dripping with sweat, his face full of fear. He retracted his gaze and stared directly at Sun Hao. Brat, you're dead. Zhongli Jingtian revealed a cruel smile. Sun Hao sensed the unusual changes above his head and looked up. Instantly, the teleportation vortex disappeared. The sky regained its calm. At this moment, the surroundings were deathly silent. Everyone stared at Sun Hao, shocked to the extreme. They opened their mouths wide and mumbled for a long time without saying a word. His mouth was wide open enough to fit an egg. After a while, Holy **T. He saw through the summoning teleportation formation with just one look. It's not that he lost sight of it. The savage beast that he summoned was scared away. What? Scared off? Even celestial immortals were scared away? My God! Ancestor, what kind of existence is that young master? Could it be an immortal king? Cries of surprise could be heard continuously. They looked at Sun Hao with awe on their faces. Sun Haogong, young master is actually terrifying to this extent? It seems that the young master must be an immortal king. I didn't expect that even the immortal king wants to be the disciple of the godly cunning immortal. In this way, doesn't it mean that the godly cunning immortal is at least an immortal venerable, or an immortal emperor? Thinking of this, Mu Shiji's heart tightened, and his whole body trembled with excitement. He couldn't calm down for a long time. Sensing the fiery eyes around him, Sun Hao's face showed an embarrassed smile. Who would have thought that Ru Meng would actually scare away the heavenly immortal savage beast? From the looks of it, Ru Meng was not an ordinary celestial immortal. Her strength was absolutely terrifying. Sun Hao thought secretly, his face full of confidence. His gaze swept across the room and landed on Zhongli Jingtian. They saw. Zhongli Jingtian's mouth was wide open as he mumbled to himself for a long time. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Father gave me a summoning amulet. There's a hell blood wolf sealed inside. That's a heavenly immortal realm savage beast. How could it be scared away? I'm dreaming, I must be dreaming. Zhongli Jingtian kept shaking his head, unwilling to believe everything that was happening in front of him. Hee, a burst of laughter jolted Zhongli Jingtian back to reality. Looking up, he saw Sun Hao standing in front of him with cold eyes. You. What do you want? Zhongli Jingtian used his hands to support his body and continuously moved backwards. Of course it's to F***CKU. How dare you? Bang! A sound rang out. The fist smashed down. It landed right on Zhongli Jingtian's face. This punch caused Zhongli Jingtian's head to rumble, and the sky to darken. His teeth shot out like hailstones. You dare to hit me? Zhongli Jingtian's face was flushed as he stared at Sun Hao with resentment. Hit you? I'm hitting you. After speaking, Sun Hao raised his fist and smashed it down again. Bang! There was a loud noise. The teeth on the left side of Zhongli Jingtian's face also flew everywhere. This punch is because you indiscriminately killed innocent people. This punch is because you were disrespectful to the godly cunning immortal. This punch is because you dared to kill me. Every time he said a sentence, Sun Hao landed a punch. A moment later, Zhongli Jingtian's face was swollen like a pig's head, blue and purple. His two eyeballs rolled straight and stared at Sun Hao. You still dare to stare at me like this, courting death? Sun Hao raised his fist and smashed it down again. Bang! Zhongli Jingtian's head roared and he was dizzy. A moment later, Sun Hao stopped and looked at Zhongli Jingtian coldly. Can you say your last words? Sun Hao said. Haha! Zhongli Jingtian looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. Last words? You want to kill me? Zhongli Jingtian said. Hee, what do you think? Sun Hao smiled coldly. Do you dare? Do you know who I am? Let me tell you, if you touch me, the entire purple sun star must be buried with me. This young master is from the Blood Wolf Star, and the power behind me is not something you can provoke. If you know what's good for you, let me go obediently, and kneel down and beg for mercy. I can consider giving you a way to live. Zhongli Jingtian said one sentence at a time, looking insolent. Threatening me? Sun Hao was unmoved and walked towards him step by step. Stop, I told you to stop, did you hear me? Don't kill me, I was wrong. I am from the Zhongli family of the Blood Wolf Star. If you touch me, you will not have a good end. Zhongli Jingtian's face changed drastically, and he kept shouting. However, it was useless. Sun Hao stood in front of him and looked at him coldly. Zhongli family? So what? Die! Sun Hao roared angrily. On his fist, the blue veins bulged, and the terrifying power flowed on his fist. The air around him kept twisting. The terrifying power all gathered on Sun Hao's fist. He aimed at Zhongli Jingtian and smashed it down. No, Kacha, two sounds rang out at the same time. Zhongli Jingtian's head cracked. After twitching strangely a few times, there was no movement, and he died on the spot. Hoo! A ray of light flashed away. In front of Sun Hao there were various objects. This is? Sun Hao looked at these things in front of him, and he couldn't help but widen his eyes. This feeling was like killing monsters and bursting things. The whole scene was dead silent. Everyone stared blankly at this scene, and the expressions on their faces were different. Killed, really killed? The young master did what he said. This courage no one can match. Too powerful, too domineering, the young master is really a model for our generation. Oh my God, the young master actually hammered Nasi's soul space. F***ck Jade Slip, there are so many immortal crystals, those are middle-grade immortal crystals, so many. Those talismans, I'm afraid they are immortal talismans, right? The exclamations continued to ring out. Everyone looked at Sun Hao, their eyes full of worship and envy. Young master, mighty. No one knew who took the lead, waved his arm, and someone immediately followed. One by one, their expressions were excited, and their blood was surging. The whole scene was extremely enthusiastic at this moment. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao's face showed a touch of embarrassment. Today was really a big show. Now, my reputation should be good, right? My performance today should attract the attention of the godly cunning immortal. Presumably, the godly cunning immortal will learn about it and accept me as a disciple. Maybe it will also solve the problem of my waste physique. My reputation is big enough, and it will be much easier to sell wine. It's really killing two birds with one stone. Sun Hao thought secretly, and a smile appeared on his face. Everything today was thanks to Ruming's secret action to achieve this effect. Turning around, he just saw Huang Ruming walking towards him step by step. Ruming, amazing! Sun Hao secretly gave a thumbs up. Young master, you flatter me. Huang Rumeng lowered her head, showing an embarrassed smile. Although she was asked to secretly make a move, from beginning to end, it was the young master's strength. Now, the young master still praised her. It was embarrassing. However, as long as it didn't break the young master's Tao heart, it was good. Rumeng, put these away. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng waved her right hand and took all the treasures in front of Sun Hao into the soul space. Chapter 255. Young Master Mighty. Above the Supreme Court, the entire scene was extremely enthusiastic. The sound of agitation lasted for a long time. Sun Hao looked at this scene, showing an embarrassed smile. He took a few steps forward and stood in front of the group of cultivators, gently waving his hand. The surroundings gradually quietened down. Everyone, you don't have to do this. Such a small matter isn't worth showing off. Since the godly cunning immortal has issued a decree, we must be united as one. Only then will we have a chance to restore the glory of the human race. Sun Hao's voice blasted into everyone's ears like thunder. Hearing this, the cultivators clenched their fists in excitement. Rumeng, let's go down. Sun Hao said. Wu, blood red, ran to Sun Hao and kept rubbing against his trousers. Okay, you follow me. Sun Hao said. Under the shroud of tens of thousands of divine wills, Huang Rumeng flew down with Sun Hao and came to the square of the Supreme Court. Greetings, young master. Xianyuan Yi and Mu Haoran brought their men forward and bowed respectfully. Don't stand on ceremony. Young master, you have saved us today, and you have united the entire human race. I wonder if young master has the time? Shall we go to the mansion? Xianyuan Yi said. A gathering at the residence? What was there to gather about? How could it be better than what he made? Forget it. It wasn't easy for him to raise his reputation. While there were many people, he still wanted to sell wine and harvest blessing points. No need. I still have matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. After speaking, Sun Hao took Huang Rumeng and walked directly out of the Supreme Court and came to the gate of the Supreme Court. With a gesture, Huang Rumeng took out tables and chairs and placed them in front of Sun Hao. The sign was erected with the words, Celestial wine for sale, 1 celestial crystal per bottle, limited to 3 bottles per person. Many small jade bottles were placed on the table. After arranging all this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. Now, even if his name didn't spread far, he was at least known by everyone. Plus his own hunger marketing. The sales volume must be pretty good. One was to make money and the other was to harvest blessing points. Even though he was a supreme beast tamer, if he was too weak, it would be difficult for him to gain a foothold in this vicious world. No matter what, gathering the blessing points and obtaining the supreme physique was the most important thing. Seeing Sun Hao's actions, a group of cultivators was full of doubts. What is young master doing? Are they selling immortal wine? I think so. It's such a small bottle, but he finished it in one gulp. What? 1 immortal crystal per bottle? It's too expensive. What kind of immortal wine is this expensive? I can't afford it, I can't afford it. Even if we can't afford it, we have to buy it. Young master saved us. With such a great favor, a piece of immortal crystal is nothing. That's right. Compared to life, celestial crystals are nothing. Many cultivators flew down and came to Sun Hao. Young master, I'll buy a bottle. All right. Money in one hand, goods in the other. The person who bought the immortal wine directly threw the bottle into his soul space, not even looking at it. When Xianyuan Yi saw this scene, he couldn't help but widen his eyes, and a hint of ecstasy flashed in his eyes. How could the young master's items be ordinary? You all still don't know? Everyone, line up immediately and buy 3 bottles. Xianyuan Yi used his divine awareness to transmit his voice, which rang in the ears of every elder. The moment these words came out, the group of elders immediately moved. The other side. The elders of the Mu family moved a step earlier than them. They quickly ran to Sun Hao and lined up to buy immortal wine. In the sky, Mu Shiji couldn't help but be stunned when he saw this scene. The acting patriarch actually sent people to line up to buy immortal wine? I only seem to have 5 immortal crystals, then I'll buy a bottle too. Thinking like this, Mu Shiji flew down and joined the end of the line. In front of Sun Hao. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. At the same time. Ding, blessing point +3. Ding, blessing point +3. Such prompts kept ringing. Isn't that the elders of the Xianyuan family? Why are they lining up too? It's normal. Young master saved us. With their Xianyuan family's financial resources, this little immortal crystal is nothing. Since the Xianyuan family has expressed their stance, how can we stand by and watch? An immortal crystal will not kill us. More and more cultivators joined the queue. Seeing the long line behind him, the corner of Mu Shiji's mouth raised slightly. Fortunately, he decided early enough and didn't have to line up. Soon, it was Mu Shiji's turn. Young master, I'll buy a bottle, Mu Shiji said. Okay. After taking the immortal crystal, Sun Hao looked up. Wait. Young master Sun Hao. Mu Shiji saluted. Since you and I are familiar, I'll give you a few bottles. After speaking, Sun Hao took out 5 bottles of immortal wine again and handed them to Mu Shiji. Thank you, young master Sun Hao. Mu Shiji left quickly. I don't know what kind of immortal wine young master brewed? Mu Shiji curiously opened the lid and immediately stood in place. That kind of shocked appearance was indescribable in words. He looked around and after confirming that no one was paying attention to him, he quietly put away the jade bottle. 6 bottles of peerless immortal wine. This kind of good fortune was simply incredible. Mu Shiji had a feeling that as long as he drank these 6 bottles, he would definitely advance by leaps and bounds, and there would be no problem becoming an immortal. Young master Sun Hao, this kind of great kindness, I will repay it another day. I will go back to the family to break through first. Young master, you can rest assured that I, Mu Shiji, will guard the human race. Mu Shiji looked back at Sun Hao and hid his gratitude in the bottom of his heart. Then, he turned into an escape light and left quickly. Of course, there were also many people who found that the immortal wine was extraordinary. Those who had only bought 1 bottle joined the queue again. Hey, didn't you just line up to buy it? Young master said I could buy 3 bottles, but I only bought 1 bottle. I feel guilty and feel sorry for young master. Brother generous, really a model for my generation. In front of Sun Hao, more and more people lined up. Didn't you buy 3 bottles? Sun Hao looked at a man and said, Young master, can you sell me a few more bottles? The man scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Sell you a few more bottles? Dream on. One person could only get 3 blessing points. If I sell you more, where can my blessing point go to harvest? Sun Hao pointed to the sign and said loudly, Those who have bought 3 bottles, please don't line up and delay everyone's time. As soon as these words came out, many people walked out of the line and sighed secretly. After Sun Hao sold 12,000 bottles. Young master, there are only 1,000 bottles left. Huang Ruming's voice came into Sun Hao's ears. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. That can't be sold anymore. There must be some left. Everyone, I'm sorry, it's sold out. If necessary, wait for me to brew it. I will sell it in Zhongfu Immortal City. At that time, please support me, Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, the cultivators in line couldn't help but stand in place. Especially those who had bought a bottle, their faces were full of regret. Even so, they remained calm and collected. They didn't say anything about the extraordinary immortal wine and only dared to rot in their stomachs. Young Master Sun Hao, definitely. I will wait for you in Zhongfu Immortal City. Young Master Sun Hao, me too. Many people bowed and dispersed in all directions. Sun Hao nodded in satisfaction, stood up, and was about to leave with Huang Rumeng. Young master. At this moment, a voice sounded. Zhongli Lang came forward with people and saluted with cupped fists. You are? Sun Hao asked. Young master, my name is Zhongli Lang, the Grand Dean of the Supreme Court. Young master, please come inside. Zhongli Lang made a gesture of invitation. Grand Dean? Sun Hao frowned slightly, showing a thoughtful look. The Supreme Court ruled the entire Tianluo continent. The human race was weak. If they could unite together, other races would certainly not dare to be so arrogant. Since he was the Grand Dean, the effect of telling him this would be good. Good. Sun Hao walked into the Supreme Court with Huang Rumeng. Entering the main hall, Sun Hao was arranged in the main seat. It seems that today, they think I am a peerless expert. Presumably, my words will also have a lot of weight. Everyone sat down, and everyone looked at Sun Hao, waiting for him to speak. Everyone, since everyone can get together today, it is fate. The evil and demon races are eyeing our race covetously, ready to launch a fatal blow at any time. All of this is nothing. Speaking of this, Sun Hao paused. In his eyes, two ominous lights burst out. On his body, killing intent rose. The most annoying is the dragon race. Since ancient times, they have regarded our race as ants, and they can slaughter us if they want. What about me? I dare not speak up and keep everything in the bottom of my heart. Finally, accept the matter of the dragon race slaughtering the city, and take everything for granted. If the weak can be bullied, if the dragon race doesn't bully us, who does he bully? Just a few days ago, the dragon race actually wanted to slaughter the entire West Prefecture Immortal City. If it weren't for the godly cunning immortal who calculated everything in advance, and the evil suppression alliance was brave enough to take responsibility, I am afraid that millions of cultivators would be destroyed. Do you think we can still be so weak? When Zhongli Lang and the others heard this, it was like a blow to the head, and they bowed their heads in shame. Chapter 256. Young Master. Zhongli Lang walked forward and hesitated to speak. Grand Dean, if you have something to say, just say it, don't be polite. Sun Hao said. The one you killed today, Zhongli Jingtian, was the only son of the Zhongli family's patriarch, Zhongli Xiao. With Zhongli Zhao's protective personality, I'm afraid Zhongli Lang sighed to himself, and his face was covered in worry. As soon as these words came out, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows. Judging from the Grand Dean's fearful expression, Zhongli Xiao was probably not a simple person. However, with the godly cunning immortal, there was no need to be afraid at all. Young master, I advise you to leave Purple Sunstar and find a safe place to hide. If he can't find her, he probably won't. Zhongli Lang's voice gradually became softer, and his expression dimmed down. Grand Dean, are you joking? Since Zhongli Xiao is so protective, then I presume it would probably be a calamity to the entire Violet Sun Star if I were to leave. Am I right? Grand Dean, with the godly cunning immortal here, even if Zhongli Xiao comes, he definitely won't be able to cause any trouble. In case it didn't work, he would stay in his old nest. Presumably the godly cunning immortal would be next to him. If Zhongli Xiao dares to come, he'll definitely die. Before Zhongli Xiao's arrival, it would be best if he could accumulate enough blessing points and embark on the path of cultivation. Young master, you are right. With the godly cunning immortal here, let alone one Zhongli Xiao, even if 100 Zhongli Xiao came, so what? Zhongli Lang's face shone brightly. How far is Zhongli Xiao from the Violet Sun Star? How long will it take for him to come here? Sun Hao asked. Young master, Zhongli Xiao lives on the Blood Wolf Star. It will take a few days if we use the planet's teleportation array, Zhongli Lang said. So fast? Sun Hao was surprised. Young master, you don't have to worry. The news of Zhongli Jingtian's death will reach Zhongli Zhao's ears in a few months, Zhongli Lang said. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had time. Young master, since you have come to the Supreme Court, why don't you stay for a while before leaving? Zhongli Lang said. Stay here for a while? It seemed possible. He could reap the blessing points. Otherwise, how about playing music to reap blessing points? No. That kind of superpower couldn't be used easily. Only reliable people would be allowed to use it. To earn blessing points, it was more reliable to sell things. He would continue to brew wine and sell it. Anyway, the brewing speed was very fast, and he could brew many vats in a day. Yes, please find me a secluded place. Sun Hao said. Young master, there is no problem. Then you can stay in the forbidden area. No one will disturb you there. Zhongli Lang said. All right. Sun Hao stood up and walked out with Ru Meng. Lead the way. Young master, please. Zhongli Lang personally led the way and sent Sun Hao to the forbidden area. After a while, Zhongli Lang walked back. His eyes were filled with boundless joy. Young Master Sun Hao must be a favorite of the godly cunning immortal. He could get to know the godly cunning immortal through him. At that time, before he knew it, he was already back in the main hall. Raising his head to look, he saw Xianyuan Yi and Mu Haoran staring at him. Patriarchs, why are you looking at me like that? What happened today truly has nothing to do with me. I was completely suppressed, Zhongli Lang said. Let's find a secret room first. Xianyuan Yi looked around and said. All right. Zhongli Lang led the two of them into a private room. After laying layers of restrictions. Zhongli Lang, you old guy, you're amazing. Xianyuan Yi said. Patriarch Xianyuan, what do you mean? Zhongli Lang was puzzled. You really don't know how to obtain this kind of amazing fortune? Xianyuan Yi said. Haha, Zhongli Lang stroked his long beard and smiled. This is true. Soon, this old man will be able to meet the godly cunning immortal. Meet your big head ghost. Mu Haoran pointed at Zhongli Lang and scolded. Do you know who young Master Sun Hao is? Isn't it young Master Sun Hao? Could it be? Thinking of this, Zhongli Lang raised his eyebrows, and his pupils contracted rapidly. The expression on his face kept changing. You mean, young Master Sun Hao is the godly cunning immortal? Zhongli Lang asked. Shh. Keep your voice down. Seeing the two nodded. Hiss, Zhongli Lang took a breath of cold air, and his body trembled with excitement. No wonder the young master didn't show any power, but he killed the immortal so easily. No wonder Zhongli Jingtian didn't even have a chance to struggle in front of the young master. He even advised the young master to leave Xiang's star, which was simply a slap in the face. Thinking of this, Zhongli Lang's face couldn't help but turn red. Open the immortal wine you bought today. Xianyuan Yi said. Okay, Zhongli Lang took out 3 jade bottles, his hands trembling slightly. The immortal wine brewed by the young master was probably extraordinary. He opened the bottle cap and took a look. His whole person was like being electrocuted, and he took 2 steps back. Hiss, the cold air was sucked in. Zhongli Lang's face changed again and again. Inside the immortal wine there was infinite immortal power. The immortal power was so pure that there was no trace of impurities. With just a light breath, he felt that his suppressed realm was about to break through. And this kind of breakthrough, there was no sense of stagnation, it was simply incomparably smooth. This kind of peerless immortal item, perhaps even 100,000 immortal crystals couldn't buy a bottle. The young master actually only sold it for 1 immortal crystal. What did this mean? Moreover, he sold so much today. The godly cunning immortal that he was searching for actually came to him. And he himself didn't know him stupidly. It was simply stupid. Zhongli Lang took a few long breaths before he calmed down. 2 patriarchs, this kind of peerless immortal item, why did the young master only sell it for 1 immortal crystal? Zhongli Lang asked. You really don't know? Xianyuan Yi asked. Please enlighten me, Patriarch Xianyuan. Zhongli Lang clasped his fists. Zhongli Lang, what are your duties as the great dean? Xian Yuanyi asked. That is, of course, to protect the Tianluo continent. Zhongli Lang said. Since you still know this, then let me ask you, what did the young master say today? Xian Yuanyi asked. The young master hates the evil demons, cursed the dragon race, and hated our human race even more. Zhongli Lang said. That's right. Xian Yuanyi nodded. The young master sold these immortal wines. His intention is to let us grow faster. At the same time, we must unite together to fight against the evil demons and exterminate them. And the reason why he stayed here is to supervise you. If you do well, the young master will definitely give you a great fortune, and becoming an immortal is absolutely no problem. Xian Yuanyi said. Hearing this, Zhongli Lang sucked in a breath of cold air again. It turns out that the young master is testing me. In that case, I must take action. Young master, don't worry, I will pass your test. Zhongli Lang clenched his fists with a firm look. He took a step and was about to walk out. Whoosh, a sound of breaking through the air sounded.